Chapter 1663, 1663 It's over? The other 4 young men from the Su family were dumbfounded. What? What did that mean? The young experts from the other 3 families also looked at Lu Ming. What did the Su family mean by this? To let one person walk to the center of the stage while the other 5 watched from the edge of the fighting ring? What kind of strategy was this? Did they want Lu Ming to deal with the 3 of them alone? At this time the other 3 family heads also frowned. They could not see through Lu Ming's cultivation. They guessed that Lu Ming had cultivated a wonderful concealment technique. Initially they thought that no matter how strong Lu Ming's cultivation was, it would not be that strong. However, it seemed that something was not right now. They had a bad feeling in their hearts, especially when they saw the Su family head's calm expression. They felt that something was wrong. All of you attack together. Lu Ming stood in the middle of the fighting ring with his hands behind his back. What? You want us to attack together? This kid is so arrogant. He's indeed arrogant. There are so many of us here. We're not even afraid of a half-saint, so how could he be a half-saint? Such a young half-saint can only be found in 13 top sects, and the number is very small. Now that the treasure-fixing assembly is about to start, those masters are all preparing for it. Why would they come to participate in the competition of several small families? Stop pretending. Let's attack together and blast him off the fighting stage. A series of surprised and cold voices rang out. Following that, the experts from the 3 major families made their move. There were a total of 18 of them and they charged towards Lu Ming. All kinds of light gathered together and it was extremely terrifying. With so many experts attacking at the same time, even an existence at the first stage of the half-saint realm would have to retreat. Lu Ming's figure still did not move. He only took a step forward. Bang! He took a step forward and the fighting stage shook. 3 9 dragons roared and rushed out, pouncing on the experts of the 3 families. It was unstoppable and it charged forward with crushing force. The bodies of the 18 young experts from the 3 families were like 18 balls. They flew backward and spat out blood in the air. Bang! 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 The 18 young men fell out of the fighting ring like dumplings, lying on the ground and wailing. Silence. The square fell into a dead silence. It had ended. It actually ended like this? Lu Ming had only taken 1 step forward and the competition had ended. Many ancient martial art practitioners from Gusu City had rushed over to watch a fierce battle. They did not expect that the rare grand event in Gusu City would end right after it had begun. Some people were so distracted that they didn't even see how it ended. The patriarchs of the other 3 families and the other experts were tongue-tied and completely speechless. Ah, you're too kind. This time the ancestral land will belong to my Su family. Ah. The head of the Su family laughed heartily. He had been depressed that Su Qin couldn't enter the ancestral land, but now he felt much better. The 4 great clans of Gusu City were constantly at war with each other. When had he ever seen such an expression on the faces of the clan heads of the other 3 great clans? Su Qin sighed beside the Su family head. Su Lei actually got Lu Ming's help. She felt helpless and sighed in her heart. Su Lei was too lucky. I didn't expect that the Su family would invite such a powerful young heaven's favorite. He must be a heaven's favorite from the 13 top sections. His cultivation must be in the half-saint realm. The Su family is lucky this time. As for the other clans, they could only watch their mouths. Many of the spectators were also helpless. A grand event had ended just like that. Cut the crap. Now go and open the ancestral land. The head of the Su family said. The ancestral land had to be opened by the family heads of the 4 great clans at the same time. This had been the rule in Gusu City for many years. Although the family heads of the other 3 great clans were unwilling, they had no choice but to open it. They could only place their hopes on the next competition. Su Lei, let's go. The master of the Su family rose into the air and looked at Su Lei. Then he turned to Lu Ming and said, Brother Lu, every time someone enters the ancestral land, there must be a protector. How about you go in with Su Lei? Sure, no problem. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming, Su Lei, and the 4 family patriarchs rose into the air and flew to the north of the square. Not far from the north of the square, there was a small palace. Everyone walked into the palace and saw a stone wall. On the stone wall there were all kinds of strange patterns. Let's start. The head of the Su family said. The other 3 patriarchs nodded, and the 4 of them struck out at the same time. They slammed their palms on the stone wall, and their Zhenyuan crazily surged into it. The stone wall emitted a bright light. Gotcha. The stone wall suddenly split open and a pitch-black vortex appeared. Su Lei, go in. What kind of fortune you can obtain in the ancestral land will depend on your luck. The head of the Su family said. Yes. Su Lei nodded and stepped into the vortex with Lu Ming. The space turned, and in the next moment, Lu Ming found that they were in an open space. The open space was very large, but it was surrounded by a vast expanse of white. In front of them there was a ball of light floating in the air like a sun. Is that the soul of the ancestor? Su Lei muttered and then knelt down respectfully. Facing the ball of light, she knelt down and kowtowed respectfully. What? Lu Ming stood beside Su Lei and looked at the ball of light, deep in thought. In the past few days he had heard Su Lei mention the ancestral land. Su Lei didn't know much either. She only knew that every time a member of the 4 great families entered this place, they would have to kneel down and pay their respects to the ball of light. Then they would walk into the ball of light and obtain an opportunity. From time to time, holy weapons, pills, cultivation manuals, and other treasures would fly out of the ball of light. As for what one could obtain, it all depended on fate. Su Lei knelt down and walked towards the light. When it reached a certain distance, a beam of light flew down from the ball of light and fell on Su Lei's body. Su Lei's body trembled slightly as if she was under great pressure, but she gritted her teeth and held on. Lu Ming was constantly paying attention to Su Lei. If anything happened to Su Lei, he would come to her rescue in time. There had once been disciples of the 4 great families who had fallen here because they couldn't withstand the pressure of the light beam. Therefore, after entering, there would always be someone to follow and protect them. Su Lei gritted her teeth. Her delicate little face revealed a stubborn and determined look as she continued to step forward. Step by step, Su Lei seemed to have difficulty walking. Not long after, her body was drenched in sweat, and her face was covered in fragrant sweat. But Su Lei didn't give up. She gritted her teeth and continued to step forward firmly. Not long after, Su Lei's petite body trembled more and more violently. Blood even seeped out of her skin. Lu Ming did not make a move. He understood that this was a test for Su Lei. As long as Su Lei could endure it, she would transform. As long as Su Lei's life was not in danger, Lu Ming would not take action. Chapter 1664, 1664 Chapter 1664 Mysterious Yin Dragon. Under Lu Ming's gaze, Su Lei continued to move forward. Suddenly, a dragon's roar came from Su Lei's body. A true dragon's shadow appeared on Su Lei's body, emitting a shocking cold air. Mysterious Yin Dragon Body. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. At this moment, a dragon's roar was heard from the brilliant light. Then the light flew directly towards Su Lei and enveloped her. Slowly the ball of light turned into a true dragon. The appearance of this true dragon was extremely similar to the vacuum that appeared on Su Lei's body. The Mysterious Yin Dragon. The true dragon formed by the light wrapped around Su Lei. Su Lei seemed to have sensed something. She sat down cross-legged and closed her eyes. She looked solemn. Whoosh! In front of her, a bracelet flew over and floated above Su Lei's head. Inheritance Storage Bracelet. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and a smile appeared on his face. Then he took a step forward and appeared where the ball of light had been. There, a snow-white jade-like bone chi was lying on the ground. True Dragon Bone Gu. As expected. The smile on Lu Ming's face grew wider. It turned out that a powerful true dragon had fallen in the so-called ancestral land. Although the true dragon had fallen, its soul was not destroyed. Therefore, every time the Su family's disciples came, the true dragon's soul would give them a treasure. The bracelet floating above Su Lei's head was the storage bracelet of the true dragon. The function of a storage bracelet was the same as a storage ring. It contained space and was a treasure for storing items. Moreover, this true dragon was the Mysterious Yin Dragon, which was a perfect match for Su Lei's physique. Therefore, when Su Lei came in this time, the soul of the true dragon wanted to pass the inheritance to her. From now on, the descendants of the 4 great families would not be able to obtain any benefits when they entered. Lu Ming's mind turned and he understood everything clearly. This was Su Lei's chance. However, this dragon's bone was of great use to Lu Ming. When this Mysterious Yin Dragon was alive, it was definitely not just at the Bright Saint stage. It was at least above the Great Saint stage. Since Lu Ming had come across it, he would not miss it. He waved his hand and kept the dragon bone. Then he sat cross-legged not far from Su Lei and waited. From the looks of it, the inheritance wouldn't end any time soon. The figure of the Mysterious Yin Dragon wrapped around Su Lei's body, and the light continuously seeped into Su Lei's body. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. At this moment, The true dragon that was coiling around Su Lei's body had completely disappeared. A terrifying cold chi spread out from Su Lei's body, and a river of profound yin water curled around her body. My body constitution has actually evolved into a superior earth spiritual body and is infinitely close to a heaven spiritual body. My cultivation has also reached the peak of the LV6 martial royal realm. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock. Su Lei's physique was originally a medium-grade earth spiritual body, but now it had reached a superior-grade earth spiritual body, which was infinitely close to a heaven spiritual body. The power of the mysterious Yin River was absolutely terrifying. An ordinary 6th or even 7th level martial emperor would be frozen to death in an instant. Su Lei's cultivation had previously been at the early stage of the 6th level martial emperor realm. Now, it had advanced to the peak of the 6th level martial emperor realm. Although the improvement was not much, Su Lei's cultivation speed would be astonishing and she would advance by leaps and bounds in the future. Lu Ming smiled. He was happy for this kind young lady. A dragon's roar resounded. A light pillar rushed out of Su Lei's body and went straight into the sky. The entire area was shaking violently. Lu Ming knew that the legacy had entered its final stage. The soul of the mysterious Yin dragon would soon be annihilated. However, this was his own choice. Outside the ancestral land, the 4 family patriarchs and the others were waiting. What's going on? It's already been half a month since we entered the ancestral land. In the past, when others entered the ancestral land, it would take no more than 3 days before they came out. Why is it half a month this time? Don't tell me they all died inside. Many people were making guesses. The patriarchs of the 4 great families also had unsightly expressions. All of a sudden, a dragon's roar came from the ancestral land. Then the vortex on the stone wall burst out with a bright light. The stone wall shook violently and exploded with a bang. How did this happen? What happened inside? The family patriarchs of the big family started to shout. At that moment, an extremely terrifying aura burst out from the 4 directions of Gusu City. The vast pressure enveloped the entire city. Then 4 figures appeared in the air. Each figure was shrouded in brilliant holy light, and their holy might bloomed. The Saint Realm patriarchs of the 4 families have been alerted. Someone exclaimed. The 4 Saint Realm patriarchs of the 4 great families descended at the entrance of the ancestral land. What's going on? Old Ancestor Su spoke. Patriarch, I don't know what happened. Su Lei and the others have been in there for half a month and haven't come out yet. Now, such a shocking change suddenly happened. The head of the Su family said. The ancestral land has changed, let's go in and take a look. Let's go in. The Saint Realm patriarchs of the other families said one after another. Then they stepped into the vortex and disappeared. The patriarchs of the big families also followed their patriarchs into the ancestral land. Let's go in too. And NBSP Old Ancestor Su said to the Su family head, and then the 2 of them charged into the ancestral land. The Saint Realm patriarchs and clan leaders of the 4 families saw Lu Ming and Su Lei sitting cross-legged as soon as they entered the ancestral land. But everyone's eyes were on Su Lei. The inheritance. The inheritance has been taken by her. Detestable. The Saint Realm patriarchs of the other 3 families growled, and their eyes were full of killing intent. What do you want? This is the opportunity of my Su family's disciples. Do you want to interfere? The Su family's Saint Realm ancestor said. What opportunity? This place originally belonged to our 4 great clans. Now that she has completely obtained the inheritance, the future generation of disciples who come here will not be able to obtain anything. That's right. That storage bracelet should have been left behind by the ancestral land. We must get it and split the treasures inside equally. The Saint Realm patriarchs spoke one after another. Old Ancestor Su and the head of the Su family had ugly expressions. These people were too overbearing. According to the rules of the 4 great families, when the younger generation entered this place, no matter what kind of opportunities they obtained, they would all belong to them. Of course, this included all the inheritances. But now, the patriarchs of the other families were obviously envious and unwilling to give up. They wanted to split it equally. The Saint Realm patriarchs naturally knew about the ancestral land. But in the past, when the mysterious Yin dragon's dragon soul was still around, even they didn't dare to have any ideas. This was because there had been Sage Realm powerhouses who had thought of getting their hands on the mysterious Yin dragon's dragon soul in the past and had been killed here. But now they no longer had such concerns. Chapter 1665. 1665 The Saints of the 3 Races. Do you want to go against the rules set by the four families? Old Ancestor Su's face was ugly. The rules? What a joke, rules are set by humans. Now we can set new rules. The old ancestor of the Qing family, one of the four great families, sneered. That's right. Do you want to stop us? That's great. The other Saint Realm old ancestor said. Old ancestor Su and family head Su's expressions changed. The other party's intention was obvious. If the Su family wanted to stop them, they could take this opportunity to join forces and destroy the Su family. And NBSP old ancestor Su clenched his fists and then sighed. Then let's split the treasures in the storage bracelet equally between the four of us. How about that? That's more like it. However, that girl is currently receiving the inheritance. We have to interrupt her immediately and extract the inheritance. Well, split it among the four families. That's right, the benefits can't be taken by the Su family alone. The other patriarch said indifferently. Don't you go too far. Old ancestor Su hollered. He was really furious, like a furious lion. He stared at the other three old ancestors and hollered, if we forcefully interrupt the process of receiving the inheritance, the person receiving the inheritance will definitely suffer a backlash and die. Moreover, the inheritance can't be extracted. How would you know if you don't try? The Qing family's old ancestor said casually. That's right. We'll know if it works or not after we try. Another ancestor said coldly. Their eyes were filled with coldness. What did Su Lei's life and death have to do with them? Moreover, they could not allow the Su family to obtain the complete inheritance. Otherwise, if they were to rise to power in the future, would the other families still have a place in Gusa City? They knew that Su Lei would definitely die if they interrupted her inheritance. Moreover, the inheritance could not be extracted. But their goal was to kill Su Lei. You've gone too far. Today, I won't let you touch my Su family even if I die. Old ancestor Su hollered and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. Su Lei had obtained the inheritance of the ancestral land and was the hope of the Su family. He could not let her die. And NBSP the Su family head stood beside old ancestor Su. Old man Su, I'm afraid you're not enough. I'll deal with this old man. I'll leave the girl to you. The Qing family's old ancestor sneered. His body also emitted a shocking aura as he stepped towards the Su family's old ancestor. The auras clashed in the air, causing rumbling sounds. The Qing family's master had his eyes on the Su family's master. There's no need for the patriarch to deal with a little girl. I can do it. The head of the Hong family from the other family spoke and walked towards Su Lei. Old ancestor Su's eyes were filled with despair. The patriarchs of the four great clans were all at the initial bright saint realm. None of them could do anything to the other. He alone could not stop the other three great clans. The head of the Hong family revealed a sinister smile on his face as he approached Su Lei. Of course, he was still cautious, because Su Lei had accepted the inheritance of the mysterious Yin Dragon. He didn't know if the soul of the mysterious Yin Dragon was still there. As for Lu Ming, who was sitting beside Su Lei, he was completely ignored. In the competition half a month ago, although Lu Ming had displayed terrifying abilities, he was a third-stage half-saint and a powerhouse whose body was filled with laws. He did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. There was a cold look in his eyes. Get lost. Lu Ming spat out the word scram. Kid, what did you say? The head of the Hong family was slightly taken aback, and then he revealed a sinister smile. If you don't get lost, you'll die. Lu Ming's voice was even colder. What big words? Then I'll kill you first. The master of the Hong family was filled with cold killing intent. He sent a palm strike towards Lu Ming. Bang. At this moment, Lu Ming made his move. He suddenly pounced toward the master of the Hong family and made a grabbing motion. All the attacks and defenses of the Hong family's master were instantly destroyed. Lu Ming looked down from above, grabbed his throat and slammed him onto the ground. Boom. The ground trembled and a huge crater was formed. The bones and armor of the master of the Hong family were broken. Not only that, Lu Ming's terrifying destructive power rushed into his body and destroyed his spiritual god. You. Blood gushed out of the master of the Hong family's mouth as he stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. Then, his head tilted to the side and he breathed his last. At the scene, everyone else was also stunned. Lu Ming had killed the master of the Hong family with one move. He was a third-stage half-saint, an expert who was affected by the laws. The master of the Su family broke out in a cold sweat. He was glad that he did not attack Lu Ming back then. Otherwise he would most likely end up the same way. Brat, you're looking for death. The patriarch of the Hong family came back to his senses. A terrifying aura burst out of his body, and a vast saint might pressed toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the patriarch of the Hong family took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming. A terrifying saber radiance slashed down at Lu Ming. Stop! The Su family's old ancestor roared and wanted to help Lu Ming. However, the Cheng family's old ancestor struck out a palm towards him. He had no choice but to counterattack to protect himself. The patriarch of the Hong family's terrifying saber gleam was about to land on Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's palm glowed and the flowing elemental water jacket covered his palm. He raised his hand and grabbed the Hong family patriarch's saber flare. The saber flare stopped in midair. Behead him! The patriarch of the Hong family roared. His holy power was boiling and the power of law burst out. He wanted to cut Lu Ming and his hand in half. However, the gleam of the blade remained in the air in Lu Ming's hand. It did not fall at all. What's going on? The patriarch's heart trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He was a sage. How could Lu Ming block his attack so easily? Bang! Lu Ming exerted force and the other party's saber gleam shattered like glass. Then Lu Ming used the thundering wind steps and appeared in front of the Hong family's patriarch with a single step. He then threw a punch. The flowing essence gloves glowed, and the laws of chaos burst forth. It destroyed everything as if it was a piece of rotten wood. The patriarch of the Hong family slashed with all his might, but it was shattered by Lu Ming's punch. Bang! Lu Ming's fist landed heavily on the body of the patriarch of the Hong family. The patriarch let out a blood-curdling screech as a huge hole was blasted in his body. He was sent flying far away and spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! Following that, the black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It shot out like lightning and pierced through the glabella of the patriarch of the Hong family, nailing him to the ground. He was dead. He was dead. The patriarch of the Hong family was killed by Lu Ming just like that. At this moment, the others were all staring at Lu Ming in shock. Their eyes widened in disbelief. A saint had been killed just like that, and it had seemed so easy. They had only heard of saints being killed by non-saints in legends. However, it was happening right in front of their eyes. It made them feel like they were in a dream. The second stage of half-saint. The old ancestor of Cheng family muttered. They could finally see Lu Ming's cultivation level clearly. Chapter 1666. 1666 Chapter 1666 Returning to Dragon God Valley. The second stage of half-saint. The other's hearts trembled. He was only at the second stage of the half-saint realm, but he could easily kill a master of the saint realm. This kind of combat power was too terrifying. Let's go. After a while, the others finally reacted. They roared and retreated, trying to leave this place. I said just now, if you don't leave, you'll die. It's too late to leave now. Lu Ming said coldly. Light spots appeared around his body. 36 holy weapons floated in the air. The chi of combat weapons gathered and reached a terrifying level. Whoosh! The black dragon spear had long returned to Lu Ming's hands. He then flung it out and nailed a clan leader to the ground. Lu Ming gripped his sword and stepped into the void, charging toward a Saint Realm patriarch. Kill, die. Lu Ming shouted as he unleashed his divine sword technique. The Saint Realm patriarch trembled. At this moment, Lu Ming's combat sword had already arrived. The Saint Realm patriarch was easily killed by Lu Ming. Another sage had fallen. At the scene, only the Cheng family's old ancestor and the Cheng family's head were left. However, the two of them were being held back by the Su family's old ancestor and head. Spare me. The Saint Realm patriarch of the Cheng family was horrified when he saw Lu Ming approaching. He begged for mercy. Kill? Lu Ming's eyes were extremely cold. He used the divine sword technique once again. The Cheng family's patriarch shuddered. Then Lu Ming's combat sword slashed across. The Cheng family's patriarch was killed by Lu Ming's sword while he was extremely frightened and unwilling. Then, with a flash of sword radiance, the Cheng family's patriarch was also killed. Previously, it was the Cheng family's patriarch who was the most arrogant. Was it possible for him to beg for mercy? At this point, the patriarchs and clan leaders of the other three great clans had all fallen here. The Su family's old ancestor and family patriarch looked at Lu Ming in shock. They were still in a daze. Dead. All the Saint Realm patriarchs and clan leaders of the other three families were dead. From the moment Lu Ming made his move to the moment he killed the experts from the three major families, it took less than a minute. Such astonishing battle prowess had simply exceeded their imaginations. Freak. He's a true freak. No wonder he dared to challenge the Divine Sun. Right now, everyone in the Azure continent thinks that Lu Ming will definitely lose and be killed by the Divine Sun. But now it seems that's not necessarily the case. That's not the case at all. The entire Azure continent has underestimated Lu Ming. Many thoughts flashed through the minds of old ancestor Su and the Su family leader. Then the two of them were overjoyed. The most powerful people from the other three great clans were all dead. From now on, no one in Gusu City would be a match for the Su clan. The Su clan was going to dominate Gusu City. All of this was because of Lu Ming. Thinking up to this point, the Su family's head felt waves of fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had changed his mind and decided to rope Lu Ming in. Otherwise, the Su family would have been destroyed. With a single thought, he had completely changed the Su family's fate. The Su family head's heart was extremely complicated. However, he secretly swore that he would rope in Lu Ming and treat Su Lei well in the future. Lu Ming was very calm. With a leap, he put away the storage rings of the powerhouses from the major families, as well as the saint hearts of the three saints. Then he continued to wait. Not long after, Su Lei's body emitted a powerful aura. Then the aura quickly converged and Su Lei opened her eyes. Oh, old ancestor patriarch. When Su Lei saw the Su family's old ancestor and family head, she quickly stood up and bowed. Don't be so polite, don't be so polite. Old ancestor Su quickly helped Su Lei up. Su Lei and Lu Ming were very close. He even guessed that the two of them might have a special relationship. He did not dare to let Su Lei bow to him. Su Lei stood up and was even more surprised when she saw the corpses of the experts from the other three families. Let's go, Lu Ming said. The four of them headed toward the exit, and in the next moment, they appeared outside the ancestral land. Outside the ancestral land, many people were waiting. At this moment, when they saw Lu Ming and the rest coming out, they all looked at them. Let's go back to the Su family. Old ancestor Su gave the order. Lu Ming and the rest returned to the Su family with the disciples. The disciples of the other three families waited outside the ancestral land for a long time, but they didn't see their patriarchs and family patriarchs. They became anxious. After that, they sent people into the ancestral land, only to find that the ancestors and clan leaders of the three families were all dead. As soon as this news was released, Gusu City was in an uproar. Everyone was extremely shocked. The ancestors and clan leaders of the three families were all dead in the ancestral land, while the Su family was safe and sound. Everyone knew that Gusu City was about to change. The members of the other three families were all terrified. As for the Su family's old ancestor and the Su family's head, they had started to make arrangements the moment they returned to the Su family. Now Gusu City was about to be unified. However, this had nothing to do with Lu Ming. The next day, Lu Ming bid farewell to the Su family's patriarch and patriarch. He was going back to Dragon God Valley. Senior brother Lu Ming, I'll go back with you, Su Lei said. Now her mother and her clansman's status in the Su family had risen, so she could naturally rest assured. All right. Lu Ming nodded and brought Su Lei out of Gusu City. The Su family's patriarch and the rest sent them all the way to the outside of Gusu City. Everyone please go back. Lu Ming took out the space-breaking flying shuttle and entered it with Su Lei. The space-breaking flying shuttle shot away like lightning and disappeared in the sky. Su Qi, it's best not to reveal the fact that Lu Ming killed a saint before the final battle between Lu Ming and the Divine Sun. And NBSP old ancestor Su sent a message to the Su family head. I know, forefather. And NBSP the Su family head nodded. Only the two of them knew about this matter. They understood that the fewer people who knew about this, the better. If the people from the deity sect knew about this, they would most likely harm Lu Ming in advance. Now they naturally hoped that Lu Ming would win. Lu Ming was so close to Su Lei. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more benefits the Su family would get in the future. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Lu Ming finally returned to Dragon God Valley. Senior brother Lu Ming, when are you going to the treasure sealing assembly? I'll go with you. Su Lei spoke timidly. Her voice was very soft and she sounded a little nervous as if she was afraid that Lu Ming would reject her. All right, when I'm going to the Tsang Mountains, I'll send you a message. Lu Ming smiled. Su Lei nodded repeatedly, her face blushing. After that, Lu Ming and Su Lei parted ways. Lu Ming returned to Cloud Dragon Valley. Master. As soon as he entered the Cloud Dragon Valley, he heard a crisp cry. A petite figure was charging towards Lu Ming. Fragrance. Lu Ming revealed a smile. This petite figure was naturally his disciple Lu Xiangxiang. Junior brother, you're finally back. During this period of time, Xiangxiang has missed you very much. She has been asking when master will be back every day. A heroic voice rang out as Longyuan Mountain stepped over. Second senior. Lu Ming cupped his fist. He had already sent a message to Longyuan Mountain previously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have met Longyuan Mountain and Xiangxiang so coincidentally the moment he returned. Chapter 1667. 1667'll take a spot. Second senior brother, you've broken through to the Sage Realm? Congratulations. Lu Ming sized up Longyuan Mountain and was overjoyed to find that there was saint power surging on Longyuan Mountain. Aha, I've wasted so much time to break through to the Saint Realm. Your third senior brother and the others have long broken through to the Saint Realm. Longyuan Shan laughed. With second senior brother's talent, he'll definitely be able to break through the Saint Realm in one day. He'll definitely be able to do so in the future. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had heard Tian Chui and Xuaningxin mention that Longyuan Mountain had been severely injured when they were young. It had damaged their source, which caused their cultivation to progress extremely slowly. They had been stuck at the half-saint realm and were unable to break through. It was said that when Longyuan Mountain was young, they went out to train with their big senior brother and met a strong enemy. In that battle, their big senior brother died and Longyuan Mountain was seriously injured. This was also a knot in Longyuan Mountain's heart, and also the obstacle that stopped him from moving forward. Longyuan Mountain smiled and didn't say much. Xiangxiang, come, let master see how your cultivation is. Lu Ming turned his gaze to Xiangxiang. More than a year had passed and Xiangxiang had grown a lot taller. She was already more than 9 years old and had a slender and elegant feeling. With one look, one could tell that she was a beauty. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw it. Xiangxiang, you've broken through to the spiritual god realm? That's right. She just broke through not long ago. Xiangxiang's cultivation hasn't dropped, right? Xiangxiang Bela blinked her large eyes and said. Lu Ming's lips trembled. Not only did it not fall but it was also very fast. More than a year ago, Xiangxiang Bela's cultivation was only at the peak of the martial king realm. It had only been a year, but Xiangxiang Bela had already crossed several major realms and broken through to the spiritual god realm in one go. A 9-year-old spiritual god realm. Even with Lu Ming's state of mind, he was shocked. Ah, ninth junior brother, are you shocked? Xiangxiang is extremely talented and rare. If we don't work hard, I'm afraid that Xiangxiang will surpass us soon. Longyuan Mountain laughed. That's possible. Lu Ming muttered and felt a sense of pressure. As her master, if he were to be surpassed by Xiangxiang Bela in the future, that would be too embarrassing. Of course he was still very happy. Although he was under pressure, he still hoped that Xiangxiang Bela would be as strong as possible. By the way, second senior, where's master? Lu Ming asked. Master has something to do during this period of time. I don't know what it is exactly, so he'll be cultivating with Xiangxiang Bela during this period of time. Longyuan Mountain said. Oh. Lu Ming nodded. It seemed that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was really in trouble. Ninth junior brother, you've come back at the right time. Today, Dragon God Valley is holding the selection of the spots for the treasure fixing assembly. You should still be able to make it if you go now. Longyuan Mountain said. Screening of the slots? Lu Ming was surprised. In the past, anyone above LV7 Martial Royal Realm and below the age of 50 could participate in the treasure fixing assembly. Why was there a need to screen this time? Ninth junior brother, the rules of this time's treasure sealing assembly have been changed. In recent years there have been many experts and geniuses among the younger generation. As a result, there are too many people above the 7th level Martial Emperor realm. There are also many more geniuses who are stronger. Therefore, it is meaningless to have too many people above the 7th level Martial Emperor realm participate. Therefore this time, the rules have been changed to each sect sending 20 of their strongest geniuses to participate. Longyuan Mountain explained. Only 20? Lu Ming said. That's right. That's why the 7 elders of the Dragon God Valley will first recommend 20 people. Then the others will challenge these 20 people. The winner will replace the other person's position and become one of the 20 people. In the end, when no one challenges, the 20 places will be determined. Ninth junior brother, let's go. You'll definitely be able to get a spot. Longyuan Mountain said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and brought Xiangxiang Bela along with Longyuan Mountain, flying towards a huge snow mountain. Soon they arrived at the competition venue. The top of a large snow mountain was very flat. There was a fighting stage in the middle and it was surrounded by people. On the northern side of the formation, there was a row of seats, and the people sitting on them were the high-level and strong people of the 7 great valleys of Dragon God Valley. On the edge of the fighting ring stood a row of people. These were the 20 people selected by the 7 great valleys. 7th senior brother, 8th senior sister. Lu Ming saw Tian Shui and Xuanning Xin among the 20 people. 7th brother and 8th sister have reached the first stage of the half-saint realm. They're quite good among the younger generation of Dragon God Valley. Longyuan Mountain said. Lu Ming nodded. More than a year ago, Tian Shui and Xuanning Xin had reached the 8th level of the martial royal realm. It had been a long time since then. With their talents, it was normal for them to reach the first stage of the half-saint realm. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. At this moment, someone saw Lu Ming and exclaimed in surprise. What? Lu Ming had appeared? Where is it? Immediately, many people turned to look around and their eyes landed on Lu Ming. Everyone in the Dragon God Valley knew that Lu Ming had challenged the Divine Sun. However, in the past 3 years, Lu Ming rarely appeared. Everyone was very curious about what realm Lu Ming had reached. Lu Ming pulled Xiangxiang Bela and landed in the seating area with Longyuan Mountain. Cloud Dragon Valley was one of the 7 valleys. Now that Longyuan Mountain had broken through to the Saint Realm, they naturally had the right to sit here. A cold and gloomy gaze swept toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming immediately sensed it and looked at the other party. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and turned away. Now the challenge will continue. Who else wants to challenge? An elder of the Saint Realm presided over the battle and his voice spread across the entire arena. I'll do it. A young man rushed into the fighting ring and chose to challenge a LV9 Martial Royal Realm young man. The young man who had challenged him was also at the LV9 Martial Royal Realm. The two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves before the young man was defeated. Following that, a few more people went up to challenge him, but they were all defeated one by one. Those who could be selected by the elders of the 7 great valleys were definitely carefully selected. They were the strongest among the younger generation of the Dragon God Valley. It was not easy for ordinary people to challenge them. From the start of the challenge until now, there had already been dozens of people who had gone up to challenge, but not a single person had succeeded. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? The hosting elder asked again. He'll go up and get a spot. At this moment, Lu Ming stood up and took a step forward, appearing on the fighting ring. Everyone's heart trembled and their eyes landed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had disappeared for too long. No one knew his current ability. Therefore, Lu Ming's name was not among the first 20 spots. Now that Lu Ming had made a move, would he be able to succeed in the challenge? During the previous treasure auction, Lu Ming swept through everyone and his combat strength was shocking. Now that such a long time has passed, it shouldn't be a problem for him to obtain another spot. That's right. It shouldn't be a problem for him to obtain a spot. I just don't know what cultivation realm he's at right now. Many people around the fighting ring were guessing. Chapter 1668, 1668 Chapter 1668 Old Dog. In the previous treasure settlement party, Lu Ming had swept the entire place with his powerful combat strength. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the LV4 Martial Royal Realm. It had been almost 3 years. What level had Lu Ming's cultivation reached? At least a high-level Martial Emperor? Ah, 9th junior brother, you're finally back. We can fight side by side again. Tian Shui laughed. In his opinion, it would be a piece of cake for Lu Ming to get a spot. 7th senior brother, 8th senior sister, how have you been? Let's have a drink after the challenge. Lu Ming said with a smile. Good, haha. Tian Shui and Xuanning Xin both smiled and nodded. Lu Ming, who do you want to challenge? The hosting elder looked at Lu Ming. Hell do. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the room and landed on a silver-robed young man. This man was obviously a proud son of heaven of Silver Dragon Valley. Who else could she pick? Humph, Lu Ming, that was then and this is now. 3 years ago your combat strength was strong, but it may not be the same now. The young man stepped forward, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. The aura of the peak LV9 Martial Royal Realm. Moreover, since this person was chosen, his talent was naturally not bad. Even if he was not a superior Earth spiritual body, he was at least a medium Earth spiritual body. Make your move, he'll give you the chance to make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. In his opinion, the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm was just a formality. Arrogant. Then I'll send you down. Silver Dragon Claw. The Silver Dragon Valley's paragon bellowed. A layer of silver-white dragon scales emerged on the surface of his body. He clawed at Lu Ming, leaving a terrible mark in the air. In an instant it was in front of Lu Ming. So powerful. Let's see how Lu Ming will crack it, someone exclaimed. At this moment Lu Ming stretched out a hand. He moved later but reached first. He was as fast as lightning and grabbed the other party's wrist. The other party's arm and even his entire body stopped in the air. Break! The other party's expression changed and he suddenly roared. His entire body emitted a dazzling silver light, and a dragon's roar sounded. However, before his silver light could explode, Lu Ming swung his arm. Bang! The other party was smashed to the ground, and the fighting ring made a violent roar. With a wave of Lu Ming's hand, the other party's body was thrown out of the fighting ring like a broken sack. He fell to the ground with a dumbfounded look on his face. Many people were also dumbfounded. The Heaven's Pride expert at the peak of the 9th level martial royal realm of Silver Dragon Valley was defeated just like that. It was too easy. Lu Ming did not even move a single step. Although some people felt that Lu Ming would win in the beginning, they did not expect him to win so easily. Could it be that Lu Ming had already broken through to the Half-Saint realm? Umph. Umph. The master of Silver Dragon Valley snorted, his face gloomy. Haha, 9th junior brother, you're amazing. Tian Shui laughed. 9th junior brother, you're so gentle. Xuaningxin said. Lu Ming smiled. He had been merciful just now. Otherwise the other party would have been dead. Lu Ming won this round and entered the top 20. Who else wants to challenge him? The old host asked. Wait a moment. At this moment, a voice rang out in the fighting ring. The hosting elder was stunned. He looked at one of the 20 people on the fighting ring and said, Silver Pine, do you have any questions? A young man in a silver robe stepped out with a cold and arrogant look on his face. He was the one who had called out for a moment. Elder, I don't think Lu Ming is qualified to enter the 20-person quota to participate in the Treasure Sealing Assembly on behalf of the Dragon God Valley, Silver Pine said. Bullshit. Yin Zisong, what right do you have to say that junior brother Lu Ming is not qualified to participate in the Dragon God Valley's Treasure Fixing Assembly? Everyone can see junior brother Lu Ming's strength. Tian Shui was immediately enraged as he shouted. What's so great about having some strength? Yin Zisong snorted coldly, his cold and arrogant expression became even stronger and said, Everyone knows that Lu Ming is extremely daring and has offended the 3 major sects, the Deity Sect, the Sky Demon Sect and the Yudu Sect. If he also participates in the Treasure Sealing Assembly, we will definitely be targeted by the 3 major sections. At that time, let alone seizing the first place, it would be good enough if we don't come in last. 3 years ago in the treasure auction we were also competed against by the 3 great sections. How did we get first place in the end? Xuaningxin said sarcastically. That was then and this is now. The treasure determination meeting is just a small matter. The treasure determination meeting is where the true geniuses are gathered. In any case, the result of his battle with the Divine Sun has nothing to do with the Treasure Fixing Assembly, and he's bound to be killed. It's better to directly find the Divine Sun and send him to his death, so why drag us down? Silver Pine said. Zisong is right. In my opinion, why don't we just kill Lu Ming and give him to the Divine Sun to repair our relationship with the Heavenly God Sect? The master of Silver Dragon Valley said coldly from his seat. Haha, if you want to curry favor with the Heavenly God Sect and become their dog, go ahead. No one will stop you. However, I'm not interested. Lu Ming suddenly burst into laughter and looked at the master of Silver Dragon Valley in disdain. Impudent, how dare you? And NBSPU. The master of Silver Dragon Valley was furious, and a powerful energy exploded from his body. The old dog is furious. Lu Ming said indifferently, his tone full of disdain. Then he turned his head and ignored the master of Silver Dragon Valley. The master of Silver Dragon Valley was so angry that his chest heaved up and down. He wished he could kill Lu Ming with one slap. However, the experts of the 7 valleys and the other valley masters were here. Naturally, he could not do that. Many people sighed. Lu Ming was still Lu Ming. He was still so bold and direct. He called the Cloud Dragon Valley master an old dog in front of everyone just like 3 years ago. Everyone, you've all seen it for yourself. This kid has no respect for his elders. I suggest that we disqualify him, cripple his cultivation, and throw him into jail. The master of Silver Dragon Valley said coldly. I think 9th junior brother is right. You're clearly an old dog. As the master of a valley, you actually want to send a disciple of Dragon God Valley to the Deity Sect as an apology. You're really shameless. If you want to suck up to the deity sect, then leave. Just join the deity sect directly. It doesn't matter if Dragon God Valley has you or not. In the seating area, Longyuan Shan spoke coldly. Now that he had broken through to the Saint Realm, he would be acting as the Valley Master of Cloud Dragon Valley. He had great power and didn't need to fear the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley. Your Cloud Dragon Valley is the cancer of Dragon God Valley. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley said angrily. Alright, you're an elder, what's there to argue with a junior? Let's continue watching the competition. A purple-robed old man said. The purple-robed elder was the Master of Purple Dragon Valley. That's right. Yin Long, you're already so old, yet you still want to argue with me? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the younger generation? The other Valley Master also said indifferently. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley looked even gloomier. It was obvious that the other Valley Masters were on Lu Ming's side. Ha ha ha. On the fighting ring, Tian Shui grinned. His laughter was extremely carefree, and it was particularly harsh to the ears of the Master of Silver Dragon Valley. Chapter 1669. 1669 Kneel down, Lu Ming. Not only is your participation in the treasure sealing assembly of no use, but it has also caused us to be targeted by the other three great sections. If I were you, I would automatically get out of the fighting stage and not participate. Silver Pine shouted and continued to attack Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to be unable to participate in the treasure sealing assembly and lose all his face. Then he would be killed by the Divine Sun. Moreover, it could suppress Lu Ming and boost his reputation. Yin Song was a Heaven's Pride expert who had just risen. 3 years ago, his cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level martial royal realm. He could not shine and could not be compared with the top geniuses. But now, his cultivation had reached the 2nd stage of half-saint and he had comprehended the laws. Moreover, he also had a superior grade earth spiritual body and powerful combat strength. Now in Dragon God Valley, his combat strength was second only to Zifeng, one of the 10 great monstrous talents. He was full of ambition and was determined to surpass Zifeng and become the new top 10 geniuses. Before that, he had to constantly establish his own prestige. Lu Ming, who was currently famous, was undoubtedly a very good choice. So you're saying that your participation in the treasure-fixing assembly is very useful? Lu Ming replied indifferently. Nonsense, who in Dragon God Valley doesn't know my combat power? If I participate in the treasure-fixing assembly, I will definitely help Dragon God Valley achieve great things. Silver Pine said proudly. You? Trash? He really knows how to put gold on his face. Lu Ming said indifferently. What did you just say? Yin Zisong was furious and his face was extremely gloomy. He rolled his eyes and came up with a plan. Lu Ming, I challenge you now. If you can withstand 10 moves from me and not lose, he'll admit that you're capable and you'll be eligible to participate in the treasure sealing assembly. How about it? 10 moves? The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. What's wrong? You don't dare to? Yin Zisong sneered, then cupped his fists to the hosting elder and said, Elder, is this battle all right? If Lu Ming agrees to it, sure. The hosting elder said. Everyone's gaze was on Lu Ming. Did Lu Ming dare to accept the challenge from Yin Zisong? Currently, Yin Zisong was the second strongest person among the younger generation in Dragon God Valley, second only to Zifeng. If he did not have the cultivation of the 2nd stage of half-saint, it would not be easy to take 10 moves from Silver Pine. Alright, you can make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. His expression was calm and no one could tell what he was thinking. In his seat, the Master of Silver Dragon Valley was delighted. He sent a message to Yin Zisong. Zisong, this is an opportunity. Seize it and cripple Lu Ming. Yin Taisong nodded in agreement, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. Junior brother, you have to be careful. Yin Song's cultivation has already reached the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm. His spiritual body is a superior earth spiritual body. Xuanixin quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming secretly, warning him to be careful. Lu Ming flashed a reassuring smile at Tian Shui and Xuanixin. Humph, this guy wants to challenge Master. He'll definitely be beaten down by Master. Master is the strongest. Lu Xiangxiang said from the side of Longyuan Mountain. Bang. In the fighting ring, Silver Pine stepped out. The cultivation of the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm was undoubtedly revealed. There were laws surrounding him and his aura was threatening. Lu Ming, you really overestimate yourself. 3 years ago, your cultivation was only at the 4th level of the martial emperor realm. Now, no matter how fast you improve, what realm can you reach? Kneel down. Yin Zifeng sneered and strode forward, sending a palm strike towards Lu Ming. Kneel down. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. The divine sword technique in his eyes shot out and pierced into the Silver Pine's body. Ah! Silver Pine let out an extremely shrill scream. Its eyes were protruding out, and its face was twisted together as if it was suffering unbearable pain. His soul was almost torn apart by Lu Ming. Kneel down. Lu Ming shouted again and took a step forward. Boom. Lu Ming's Saint Realm soul power went berserk and frantically pressed down on the silver. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have transformed into a god in front of Silver Pine. He was 100,000 feet tall and stood between the sky and earth. With a single thought, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked and millions of corpses fell. At this moment, Silver Pine's liver and guts were torn apart. With a plop, he directly knelt down. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Silver Pine actually knelt in front of Lu Ming. Moreover, the two of them did not fight at all. There was no explosive scene. They only heard Lu Ming shout "get down" twice, and then Yin Zisong knelt down. What was going on? Previously, Yin Song had been insufferably arrogant and had looked down on Lu Ming. He had said that if Lu Ming could withstand 10 moves from him, he would acknowledge Lu Ming's strength and be able to participate in the treasure-fixing assembly. But now, he had not even made a move and he was already kneeling in front of Lu Ming. What was this? Lu Ming, what demonic art did you use? The master of Silver Dragon Valley roared from his seat. He found it hard to believe. The most outstanding talent of the Silver Dragon Valley was kneeling in front of Lu Ming just because of Lu Ming's 2 shouts. Yao arts? It's ridiculous that you're the master of a valley and a great sage, but you actually said the word, demonic technique. Lu Ming sneered in response. There were thousands of secret skills on the path of martial arts. The master of Silver Dragon Valley said the word, demonic skill, as if he was an ordinary person who had not cultivated it. How ridiculous was that? The master of Silver Dragon Valley widened his eyes in anger, but he couldn't refute. You can't even tell with your soul power? Long Yuan Shan spoke. This old master can naturally see it, there's no need for you to say it. The master of Silver Dragon Valley said coldly. Naturally they could tell that Lu Ming was using his soul force. He had only said the word demonic art in a moment of desperation. However, Lu Ming's soul force was too strong. It made them apprehensive. How did this kid's soul power reach such a level? It's comparable to a saint. An NBSP, damn it. The master of Silver Dragon Valley roared in his heart. He hated Lu Ming to the core. He could not control the anger in his heart when he was facing Lu Ming. Otherwise, as the Valley Master, he would not be in such a pathetic state. But, on the fighting ring, Lu Ming retracted his soul force. Silver Pine felt his soul become lighter, and he panted heavily as if he had collapsed. Then he came to his senses. He was kneeling in front of Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were on him. Some were disdainful, and some were sarcastic. Ah, damn it, how could this be? Silver Pine's eyes were red and he was screaming madly in his heart. He was actually kneeling in front of Lu Ming. Just now, it was as if his soul had been torn apart and he had no idea what he had done. You're really a piece of trash. Lu Ming said calmly. Lu Ming. You, Silver Pine shouted. He was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Nest, you're so powerful. You actually spurted blood on your own. I've really learned something today. Tian Chui gloated, adding insult to injury, causing Yin Zisong to spit out another mouthful of blood. Let's go. The master of Silver Dragon Valley couldn't stand it anymore. He waved his sleeve and left. Today he had lost all his face. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, he would be like a Silver Pine and vomit blood from anger. Chapter 1670. 1670. So wild dogs look like this after the master of Silver Dragon Valley left. The challenge continued. Since Yin Song was the one who was challenged, he still had to stay in the fighting ring. Yin Tai Song could only lower his head the entire time and stand in the fighting ring in shame. The challenges continued. However, given Lu Ming's combat strength, no one dared to challenge him. In reality, no one dared to challenge those who were ranked at the top. Most of the challenges that were carried out later ended in failure. Half a day later, the challenge ended and the 20 spots were set. In Tian Chui's cave residence in Cloud Dragon Valley, Long Yuan Shan, Lu Ming, Tian Chui, and Xuaningxin sat around a table and drank to their heart's content. Ha ha ha, it's so satisfying today. I'm so happy to see the old dog master of Silver Dragon Valley. Tian Shui gulped down a few mouthfuls of wine and laughed. When she thought of the master of Silver Dragon Valley's defeated expression, Longyuan Mountain and Xuanningshin also revealed a smile. By the way, ninth junior brother, what realm have you reached now? Longyuan Mountain asked. Tian Shui and Xuanningshin also revealed curious expressions. Lu Ming did not hide anything. The aura on his body bloomed, and laws surrounded him. Wow. This is the second stage of the half-saint realm. Amazing, amazing. Tian Shui's eyes widened. Ninth junior brother's talent is extraordinary. I, as his senior sister, have been surpassed, Xuanningshin said with a smile. When they first met Lu Ming's cultivation base was far inferior to theirs. Now he had surpassed them. Lu Ming's talent was shocking. Of course they were also happy for Lu Ming. However, Longyuan Mountain's face didn't show any happiness as he asked, Ninth junior brother, are you confident in facing the divine child? As soon as he said this, Tian Shui and Xuanningsin's faces immediately became serious, revealing a trace of worry. Although Lu Ming was powerful, he was only at the second stage of the half-saint realm. The divine son had reached the saint realm a year and a half ago. In the saint realm, one could refine the saint heart and turn their vital essence into saint power. They would have a stronger control over the laws and would be much stronger than half-saints. In the second stage of the half-saint realm, it was too difficult to fight with a saint. Furthermore, the deity was not an ordinary half-saint, but a top heaven's favorite, a monster in the azure state. If the divine son's cultivation is still at the sage small perfection realm, I have a 50% chance of killing him. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, What? 50% chance of killing him? Longyuan Mountain, Tian Shui and Xuanningshin were dumbfounded. Although they had hoped that Lu Ming would say that he was confident, they had never expected him to say that he was 50% confident in killing the divine son. Not defeat but kill. Killing was much harder than defeating. Lu Ming was actually 50% confident that he could kill the divine son. Longyuan Shan, Tian Shui and Xuanningshin looked at each other. It seemed that they had underestimated this little junior brother. Good, then senior brother will wait for junior brother to show off his divine might at the treasure-fixing assembly and kill him without leaving a single piece of armor. Tian Shui laughed heartily as he picked up the wine jar and took a few more gulps. They hadn't seen each other for more than a year, so they naturally had a lot to talk about. They drank and chatted until late at night before they left. Lu Ming spent the rest of the time in closed-door cultivation, focusing on his cultivation. The divine son had broken through to the saint realm a year and a half ago. It was very difficult to break through after reaching the saint realm. The resources and time required to break through each realm were far beyond that of the martial royal realm. However, the deity's talent was very high, and he had also received the full support of the Tianxin sect. In 1.5 years, who knew if the deity had broken through? If the divine son were to make another breakthrough, it would be very difficult for Lu Ming to defeat him. Therefore, the only way was to constantly improve his own strength. Lu Ming spent the next few days comprehending the chaos laws and cultivating the chaos sky-turning seal. He had long cultivated the chaos sky-turning seal to the peak of the 5th level. If he could break through to the 6th level, Lu Ming's combat strength would increase again. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. At this time, there was only about a month before the start of the treasure sealing convention, and it was time to set off for the Tsang Mountains. Tian Shui, Xuanningshin, Lu Ming, and Lu Xiangxiang had come together to broaden their horizons, so Lu Ming had brought Lu Xiangxiang along. Before he left, Lu Ming sent a message to Su Lei. Back then, Lu Ming had promised to bring Su Lei along when he went to the Tsang Mountains. The group of 5 arrived at the Dragon God Valley. This time, take my space-breaking flying shuttle. Xuanningshin smiled and took out a flying shuttle. It was shining with silver light and was extremely beautiful. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that Xuanningsin's space-breaking flying shuttle was by no means comparable to an ordinary space-breaking flying shuttle. The 5 of them entered the space-breaking flying shuttle, and with a swish, it shot through the sky like a stream of light. Its speed was twice that of an ordinary space-breaking flying shuttle. In just 7 days they had arrived near the Tsang Mountains. As they neared the Gray Mountain, they got off the flying shuttle and headed towards the mountain. Boom, boom. As they neared the Tsang Mountain, they heard a roar in front of them. Beams of bright light shot up into the sky. Someone was fighting. There were still some people watching in the void. The 5 of them approached and found that the 2 people fighting were at the 6th level martial royal realm and belonged to 2 different sections. Before the start of each treasure-fixing assembly, It was always the stage for those below the 6th level of the martial royal realm. It was very normal for them to fight with each other. The approach of Lu Ming and the group attracted the attention of others. Many pairs of eyes looked at them. That is, Lu Ming? It's really him. He has finally appeared. In the past few years he has barely appeared. More than a year ago, he only appeared once in the heavenly wind plains and then disappeared. I originally thought that in this time's treasure sealing assembly he would not appear. I didn't expect that he would really appear. Interesting. Lu Ming's appearance attracted a lot of discussion. Hehe, Lu Ming, you really dare to show yourself. I thought you would be like a turtle hiding in its shell and not dare to come out. A sneer rang out and spread throughout the entire area. A few figures stepped in the air and arrived in front of Lu Ming and the rest. They sneered at Lu Ming. Stone crown. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The person who spoke just now was Shi Guan of the Tianxin sect. In the last treasure settlement ceremony, Lu Ming and the others were chased by Shi Guan as soon as they arrived at the Tsang Mountains. Close to 3 years had passed, and Shi Guan had undoubtedly become even more powerful. His body was suffused with milky white holy light, and the power of laws circulated around him. The second stage of half-saint was Shi Guan's cultivation. However, Shi Guan did not have a superior-grade earth spiritual body but a medium-grade earth spiritual body. Lu Ming could kill him with one slap. What bad luck. I heard a wild dog barking as soon as I arrived at the Tsang Mountain. Tian Shui sneered as he laughed. Senior brother is right, and it's an ugly wild dog. Xuanixin also called out. Tian Shui and Xuanixin spoke one after another, causing Xiang Xiang to smile. This little girl blinked her eyes and asked curiously, Martial uncle, martial aunt, so this is what wild dogs look like. It's the first time Xiang Xiang has seen them. The little girl was innocent and innocent. When she said that, the surrounding people couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 1671, 1671 Chapter 1671 Purchasing Treasures. Shi Guan's face was incomparably dark and gloomy. His cold eyes swept across Tian Shui and the rest as he said, What's the use of a sharp tongue? Lu Ming, this time there's no need for senior brother divine son to make a move. You'll lose your life in the treasure-fixing assembly, humph. With that, Shi Guan snorted coldly and left with a few disciples of the heavenly god sect. Lu Ming and the rest did not stay there. They flew directly to the Dragon God Valley station at the Tsang Mountain. It was the first time Xiangxiang Bela had come to the Tsang Mountains. Her big eyes were spinning around, full of curiosity. This was the first time that the little girl had gone out of the Lu clan for so many years. She was either in the Lu clan fort or Dragon God Valley. Xiangxiang, cultivate well. When you reach the high-level martial royal realm, he'll let you go out and wander alone. Lu Ming said. And Xiangxiang will definitely do her best. The little girl's eyes immediately lit up and she clenched her fists. The next few days were peaceful after they arrived at the Dragon God Valley. 3 days later, Tian Shui and Xuanixin came to look for Lu Ming. The Supreme Treasure Pavilion was about to open its doors to sell treasures again. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. The Supreme Treasure Pavilion was an emperor-level power, and its business was spread across many large provinces. There were countless treasures in the Supreme Treasure Pavilion, many of which could not be found in the Azure province. Lu Ming also wanted to buy 2 things. It was also a space-breaking flying shuttle. Lu Ming wanted to buy a higher-level space-breaking flying shuttle. The second was the dragon bone or the blood essence of a real dragon. Previously, Lu Ming had obtained a dragon valley in the ancestral land of Gusu City. However, it was obvious that the dragon bone had been dead for many years. The spiritual essence of the dragon bone had been severely lost. Lu Ming estimated that even if he devoured and refined it, it would be difficult for his spirit body to evolve. The dragon god combat body had reached the heavenly spiritual body level. Every time it evolved, it would consume a terrifying amount of energy and require a terrifying amount of spiritual essence of a true dragon. Therefore, Lu Ming needed more true dragon bone goo or blood essence. Moreover, the blood essence of the true dragon skeleton at the Bright Saint realm was no longer of much use to Lu Ming. He needed something of a higher level which was almost impossible to find in the Azure region. When Lu Ming was in the Dragon God Valley, he had gone to the Treasure Dragon Hall to ask, but the highest level of the true dragon skeleton was only at the peak of the Bright Saint realm, and there were not many. Lu Ming was also looking forward to the opening of the Supreme Treasure Pavilion in the Tsang Mountains. The 3 of them headed towards the Supreme Treasure Pavilion. Just like 3 years ago, the Supreme Treasure Pavilion was packed with people. Many of them were wearing black robes and bamboo hats, afraid that others would recognize them. 3 years ago Lu Ming and the rest were the same. However, this time the three of them did not hide it. With Lu Ming's current combat strength there was no need to hide it. The three of them stepped into the Supreme Treasure Pavilion and immediately attracted many pairs of eyes. Many people turned to look at Lu Ming. Clearly many of them recognized him. Lu Ming did not care at all. With a calm expression he, Tianque and the other two started to walk around. After walking one round they went to the third floor. Some people's eyes flickered. They followed Lu Ming and the other two to the third floor. The treasures on the third floor were of a much higher grade. Lu Ming went to a counter that specialized in selling holy weapons. A young lady smiled at him. "What saint weapon would you like to purchase?" The young woman said with a smile. "Excuse me, are there any space-breaking flying shuttles for sale here?" Lu Ming asked. "Of course we have a space-breaking flying shuttle. How many times faster do you need?" The young woman asked. The space-breaking flying shuttle that Lu Ming used in the past was of the lowest level. With this kind of space-breaking flying shuttle as a unit, it was called the space-breaking flying shuttle that could double the speed. The higher grade of the flying shuttle would be faster. For example, Xuanixin's flying shuttle was twice as fast as the normal flying shuttle, so it was called the double space-breaking flying shuttle. If its speed was 3 times, it would be called a triple space-breaking shuttle, and so on. Back then, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's space-breaking flying shuttle had been at least 10 times larger. The main thing about the space-breaking flying shuttle was speed, followed by defensive power. Normally, the faster the speed, the higher the value. A normal spatial-piercing shuttle was worth around 5 saint weapons, and a spatial-piercing shuttle that was twice as fast was worth double that. The faster it was, the more expensive it was. "I need a space-breaking flying shuttle that can travel at 5 times the normal speed," Lu Ming muttered to himself. "Of course, we have a space-breaking shuttle with 5 times the speed. Please wait a moment, sir." The young woman took out a storage ring. The ring glowed, and an extremely beautiful space-breaking flying shuttle appeared. It was only the size of a palm, and it was covered with beautiful starlight. As soon as the space-breaking flying shuttle was taken out, it attracted a lot of attention. "What a beautiful space-breaking flying shuttle. I'm afraid this space-breaking flying shuttle is extraordinary." The beautiful lady said that it's a space-breaking flying shuttle that can travel at 5 times the speed. Can Lu Ming afford it? Low voices came from all around, and many people's eyes were burning with passion. Lu Ming's eyes also flashed. With the speed of the space-breaking shuttle at 5 times, it would only take him 3 days at most to travel between the Tsang Mountains and Dragon God Valley, or even less. Lu Ming was very tempted. This space-breaking flying shuttle is made of star iron. It's worth 25 bright saint weapons. "Do you want it?" The woman's voice sounded. "I'm taking it." Lu Ming's words shocked many people. Lu Ming said he wanted 25 bright sacred weapons without even blinking. Many people were dumbfounded, and some people even had a flash of greed in their eyes. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a cold smile. If it was 3 years ago he would definitely not dare to be so arrogant. But now, if anyone dared to have any ideas about him, he didn't mind killing a portion of them first. "Excuse me, do you sell true dragon bones here?" "If there is, I'll buy some and pay for it together," Lu Ming said. "I do have true dragon bones." "What level of true dragon bones do you need, sir?" The young woman said. "For those above the Great Saint Realm, the higher the level, the better," Lu Ming said. "Those above the Great Sage Realm." The young woman's eyes flickered. "We only have 1,500 kilograms of Supreme Saint True Dragon Bones here, and they're full of spirit. However, the price is very high. You'll need 50 bright saint weapons." The young woman was sending this sentence to Lu Ming through voice transmission. The young woman was also thinking about Lu Ming. The price must be too shocking, and she was afraid that Lu Ming would be coveted by others. 50 bright saint weapons? Lu Ming's heart stirred. In total he would need 75 bright saint weapons. He could take out that many bright saint weapons, but he wouldn't have many left if he took them out. If he needed to cultivate the 10,000 soldier scroll in the future, where would he find so many bright saint weapons in a short time? Lu Ming thought about it and decided to use other treasures to offset it. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He took out a storage ring and handed it to the young woman. "Miss, take a look and see if the things inside can offset the dragon bone and the space-breaking flying shuttle." The young woman nodded and took the storage ring. After scanning it with her spiritual senses, her expression changed and she sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. "Could this be the corpse of an absolute saint divine beast?" Lu Ming nodded. Back then, Lu Ming had obtained the corpse of a goshawk in his bedroom in the Emperor Tsang's secret realm. It was an absolute saint. Although it had been dead for many years, the price of an absolute saint divine beast was still very high. Its entire body was filled with treasures. Chapter 1672 Chapter 1672 Kill a batch first, sir. It's hard for me to guess the exact price of this divine beast's corpse. You need to call our deacon over. Please wait a moment, the young woman said. Then she took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message. Soon an old man with white hair came to the counter. The elder exuded a faint holy aura. Lu Ming speculated that the elder must be in the saint realm. The old man picked up Lu Ming's storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual senses. His expression changed slightly and he began to examine it carefully. After a while, the old man sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Little brother, although this absolute saint divine beast's corpse has been dead for many years and lost a lot of its spirituality, its overall price is still higher than a flying shuttle that can travel at 5 times the speed and the 1500 kilogram Supreme Saint True Dragon Bone. Are you sure you want to trade? Ill exchange? Lu Ming nodded. The goshawk's corpse was not of much use to him, so he might as well exchange it for something useful. All right, little brother. I won't let you suffer any losses. I'll add another 9 drops of true dragon blood essence at the great circle of the bright saint stage for you. The old man smiled and passed the other storage ring to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He realized that the space-breaking flying shuttle was already in the storage ring. Other than that, there was also a huge jade box that contained a pile of dragon bones. There was also a jade bottle. Presumably, it contained 9 drops of true dragon blood essence of a perfected bright sage. Thank you, senior. Lu Ming kept it and cupped his fists. No need to be so polite. Little brother, you have to be careful. I'm afraid someone will be watching you, the old man reminded. Lu Ming smiled and swept his gaze across the room. He realized that many pairs of eyes were looking at him. Although Lu Ming and the rest were making the transaction through voice transmission and the people around them could not hear what they were saying, Lu Ming had previously said that he wanted to buy a space-breaking flying shuttle that was 5 times faster. Even saints would be jealous of such a treasure. Also, a deacon of the Supreme Treasure Pavilion came after him. What exactly was the item that Lu Ming took out? He actually needed the deacon of the Supreme Treasure Pavilion to come out? Lu Ming definitely had valuable treasures on him. Many people had such thoughts and their eyes were burning with passion. Junior brother, it seems like we're being watched again, Tian Shui said, his eyes flashing with a sharp glint. Isn't that just right? If we kill a batch before the final assembly, wouldn't it be even easier during the final assembly? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Of course, they were also communicating through voice transmission. Tian Shui and Shui Ningxin's eyes revealed a trace of malevolence. Let's go outside and stop them. Alright, then Lu Ming must have some valuable treasures on him. They're ours. Lu Ming and the other 2 were communicating through voice transmission. The others were also communicating in secret. Then, a group of people left the treasure pavilion silently and waited at the path that Lu Ming and the rest had to take. The 3 of them continued shopping. Tian Shui and Shui Ningxin had both bought some items. The 3 of them had bought what they needed and were satisfied. They left the treasure pavilion and headed in the direction of Dragon God Valley. As soon as the 3 of them left the Supreme Treasure Pavilion, a group of people followed behind them silently. As expected, they followed us. Shui Ningxin sneered. I hope there are people from the Heaven God sect. Lu Ming smiled. If there were people from the Heavenly God sect, he could kill them in broad daylight. He and the Tianxin sect had long been irreconcilable enemies. If he could kill more, why not? The people behind him did not make a move immediately. They kept following him. It was obvious that they wanted to make a move only when they were far away from the Supreme Treasure Pavilion. Lu Ming and the other 2 flew forward unhurriedly. Soon they saw a group of people in black robes blocking their way. The 3 of them stopped. The people behind him also surrounded him. You're finally here. Lu Ming, hand over your storage ring. A person in front of him coldly spoke. It's a robbery again. He's been using this trick every day. He did it 3 years ago and now he's doing it again. He really hasn't changed. Tian Shui grinned. If you want it, then come and get it yourself. Lu Ming said calmly. Lu Ming, since you're looking for death, I'll grant it to you. There's no need to wait for you to fight the Divine Sun. They'll kill you now. Lu Ming, the person said coldly. Then a few people stepped out and closed in on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, he's ours. Behind them there were also people who forced their way over. Junior brother Lu Ming, do it later. Let me have some fun first. The malevolence in Tian Shui's eyes grew even stronger. Tian Shui, you deal with the front, I'll deal with the back. A layer of dragon scales began to appear on her body. She took a step forward and rushed back. With a dragon's roar, Xuaningxin turned into a snow dragon. Her body was pure white, and she emitted a shocking cold air as she clawed out. A black-robed man at the LV9 martial royal realm was killed by Xuaningxin. Kill, die. Tian Shui shouted in front of him. A huge hammer appeared in his hand and he smashed a black-robed man who was at the peak of the 9th level martial emperor realm into a meat pie. Half-saint, they are half-saints. Someone exclaimed. Kill. Kill. Tian Shui and Xuaningxin shouted, their killing intent surging like a tide as they launched a storm of attacks towards the black-clothed men. A few more people were killed in succession. So what if he's a half-saint? Kill him. Another black-robed man rushed out, exuding a shocking aura. Half-saint, they were all half-saints. Bus. The people behind him exploded with a shocking amount of poison qi and charged towards Xuaningxin. The powerhouses in front of him were all bathed in holy light, and their killing intent was cold. Heaven deity sect, you do sect, it's really you. Tian Shui and Xuaningxin shouted. Boom. Boom. A terrifying collision resounded. Tian Shui and Xuaningxin's combat strength was extremely strong, and their attacks were like crazy, forcing the other party to retreat. But soon after, more people joined in. This time, there were at least 100 people surrounding them, and there were still quite a few people who had yet to make a move. The people who attacked later were more powerful. Lu Ming even saw the power of law flowing around a few of them. He was a master at the second stage of the half-saint realm. Tian Shui and Xuaningxin were besieged by 6 or 7 experts, all of whom were at the half-saint realm. Moreover, there was an expert at the second stage of the half-saint realm who was able to stop Tian Shui and Xuaningxin. Since the Heaven Deity sect and the Yudu sect have already been exposed, why do they need to hide? Show your true form. Lu Ming stood in the air and spoke calmly, his voice spreading throughout the entire area. So what if you reveal your true form? Someone said coldly. Then he pulled off his black robe, revealing his true appearance. Then more and more people took off their black robes and revealed their faces. Lu Ming swept his gaze across them. Many of them were older. Most of them were middle-aged and only a few of them were from the younger generation. Looking at their clothes, they were from the Desire Poison sect and the Heavenly God sect. Lu Ming, hand over your storage ring and I'll let you live for a few more days. On the side of the Heavenly God sect, a few middle-aged burly men stepped through the air and headed toward Lu Ming. The holy light was thick. Chapter 1673. 1673 Chapter 1673 Killing one person with one strike. Lu Ming sneered. Cut the crap. If you have the ability, come and take it. How arrogant. I'd like to see how much you've grown in 3 years. A burly man in the first stage of the half-saint realm of the Tianxin sect stepped forward. A spear of divine punishment appeared and pierced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes were as cold as a knife. A holy weapon sword appeared in his palm. Lu Ming's holy weapon sword slashed out, and the sword light was shocking. The opponent's spear of divine punishment was shattered by Lu Ming's sword light. The sword light did not stop and the man was cut in half, dying instantly. Kill? Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and appeared in front of another middle-aged man from the Tianxin sect who was at the first stage of the semi-sage realm. Then he swung his sword again. The man was frightened and retreated frantically. However, Lu Ming's sword radiance still cut through his body, splitting it from the middle. His spiritual god had been destroyed by Lu Ming. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in front of another powerhouse at the second stage of the half-saint realm. Die. The second stage half-saint expert roared. The laws circulated and holy light burst out, launching a terrifying attack at Lu Ming. However, when Lu Ming's battle sword slashed past, everything was illusory. The other party's attack was instantly destroyed. This person followed in the footsteps of the previous two and was killed by Lu Ming's sword. The others gasped and retreated in shock. One sword for one person, one sword for one person, one step for one person. Regardless of whether they were at the first stage or the second stage of the half-saint realm, they could not put up any resistance in Lu Ming's hands. They were killed by Lu Ming's sword one by one. At this moment, the battle here had already alarmed the people in the distance, and many people had rushed over upon hearing the commotion. It's Lu Ming. Lu Ming is being surrounded. It's the people from the Deity sect and the Yudu sect. These two sects are really at loggerheads with Lu Ming. As long as they encounter him, they will fight to the death. There are so many experts. Lu Ming is finished. Many figures flew over. They were shocked to see so many experts besieging Lu Ming and the rest. Attack together. Yudu sect, attack together and kill Lu Ming. Within the heavenly divine sect, a person shouted madly. This person was still wearing a black robe that had not been taken off. Kill. Attack together. There were more than 20 experts from the Yudu sect and the Deity sect. They were all half-step saints. 5 of them were at the second stage of the half-step saint realm. All of them were charging toward Lu Ming. All kinds of attacks were aimed at Lu Ming from both the front and back. Whoosh. All of a sudden, a few terrifying saber lights slashed toward Lu Ming from the left. Each saber light was filled with demonic qi. The people from the Tianyu demon sect are also here to join in the fun. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a shocking murderous intent. Bus. Lu Ming's figure moved and dodged the attacks from 3 sides. Then, like a goshawk soaring through the sky, he pounced towards the experts of the Tianxin sect. The combat sword in his hand slashed down. 100-meter-long sword light slashed towards the expert of the Tianxin sect. The terrifying power made the expert of the Tianxin sect extremely frightened. Join forces and block them. More than 10 half-saints of the Tianxin sect joined forces to attack. More than 10 beams of holy light gathered together and blasted toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's sword radiance cut through the holy light and killed 3 half-saints in an instant. Then he slashed out with his sword and 2 more experts were killed. Retreat, quickly retreat. The remaining people were almost scared to death. They frantically retreated. One of them took out a saint weapon, which was a small mountain, and blocked in front of him. Clang. Lu Ming's sword slashed at the hill, sending it flying and crashing into the man. The man was crushed into a meat patty by his holy weapon. In just a few breaths, Lu Ming had killed 6 half-saints of the Deity sect. The people around were dumbfounded. Lu Ming's combat strength had become even more terrifying. Compared to 3 years ago, he was much stronger. A half-saint was like an ant in his hands. Kill. Following that, Lu Ming stepped into the air and charged towards the people from the Desire Poison sect. With a loud shout, the divine sword technique burst forth, and more than 10 experts from the Desire Poison sect screamed in pain. Then the sword light flashed and all of them were killed. Their poisonous bodies were completely useless in front of Lu Ming. Their souls were destroyed. Retreat, retreat. The remaining people, including the ones who were fighting Tianque and Xuaningxin, were all scared out of their wits. They didn't dare to stay any longer and frantically fled in all directions. Shiguan, since you're here and you want to take my storage ring first, then you don't have to leave. Lu Ming fixed his eyes on a black-robed man from the Deity sect and walked towards him. This person shouted and attacked together. Lu Ming immediately recognized him as Shiguan. Shiguan turned pale with fright and fled frantically. However, Lu Ming's speed was astonishing. He caught up with Shiguan in a few steps and threw a punch at him. The force of his fist crushed Shiguan. Shiguan used all his strength to block the attack. However, he was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch. The black robe on his body burst open, revealing his true appearance. It was indeed Shiguan. At this moment, his face was filled with shock and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Initially, he had brought an expert with the intention of snatching Lu Ming's storage ring. He had never expected that Lu Ming's combat strength would reach such a terrifying level. The first and second stage half-saints were like babies in Lu Ming's hands. They could not withstand a single blow. A large number of them were killed as soon as he made a move. They suffered heavy losses. Although there were no high-level spirit bodies among these people, Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying. Now Lu Ming wanted to kill him. He was no match for them. 3 years ago, Lu Ming was only at the LV4 Martial Royal realm. He could only run for his life when he was in his hands. However, he might not even be able to escape from Lu Ming now. In 3 years, everything had been reversed. Kill? Lu Ming said coldly. The combat sword appeared in his hand again and he slashed at the stone crown. No. The stone crown resisted with all its might. Stop. A loud shout came from the distance, causing the sky to rumble. However, Lu Ming's sword momentum did not stop. He slashed down with all his might. In the midst of despair, the stone crown was killed by Lu Ming. But in the distance, there was a flash of holy light. A young and handsome man appeared in the air. His eyes fell on Lu Ming, filled with murderous intent. It's Luo Shuihan. Luo Shuihan is here. This is going to be interesting. Exclamations of shock rang out in the surroundings. Junior brother, be careful. This person is Luo Shuihan, the strongest monster in the Tsang region after the Divine Sun. She's another peerless heaven's favorite of the Tianxin sect. Tian Chui and Xuaningxin came to Lu Ming's side and Xuaningxin said in a low voice. Lu Ming nodded. 3 years ago, a new peerless heaven's pride emerged in the deity sect during the Treasure Determination Assembly. At the Treasure Determination Assembly, he overpowered everyone and was second only to the Divine Sun. He was ranked second among the 10 great monsters. When the Divine Sun broke through to the Saint Realm and dropped out of the genius ranking, that person rose to the first place. That sovereign was Luo Shuihan. Luo Shuihan's eyes swept across the scene, and the coldness in her eyes grew stronger. Chapter 1674. 1674 Lu Ming's helplessness. Luo Shuihan's eyes swept across the scene. The killing intent in her eyes grew stronger when she found that Lu Ming had killed so many experts. Lu Ming, how dare you kill so many people of my heavenly god sect? What should I be punished for? Luo Shuihan said coldly. What should I be punished for? How laughable. Your people from the Tianxin sect stopped me on the way and tried to snatch my storage ring. Shouldn't I kill you? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Nonsense. How could the people of my heavenly god sect do such a thing? Luo Shuihan shouted, then turned to the rest of the people of the Tianxin sect and said, Is what Lu Ming said true? Did you guys try to snatch his storage ring? There's no such thing. Lu Ming is talking nonsense. He was the one who bore a grudge against our deity sect and attacked us for no reason. The brothers from the Yudu sect can testify to this, right? A burly middle-aged man from the Heaven God sect shouted as he looked at the remaining people from the Yudu sect. That's right. That's true. Lu Ming is out of his mind. He suddenly attacked us. The Desire Poison sect's people also shouted. This was a complete lie. Lu Ming, what else do you have to say? A life for a life. Luo Shuihan said with a cold smile. What do I need to say? Do I still need to say anything to a bunch of shameless people like you? You just want to find a reason to attack, so there's no need for so much nonsense. Yes, I did it. In the future, if you see anyone from the Heavenly God sect, kill them all. Hurry up and attack. Lu Ming's face was full of disdain as he shouted. Very good, then you can die. Luo Shuihan was holy. Holy light filled the air and turned into a light belt that surrounded her body. She looked extremely holy. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong, he was still not worthy of his attention. Luo Shuihan did not care about the combat strength of those who were killed by Lu Ming. He had a superior earth spiritual body and his cultivation had reached the peak of the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm. He was the top of the top 10 geniuses of the Azure region. He could kill a large number of warriors at the 1st and 2nd stage of half-saint with one slap. Around them the others looked on nervously. Many people thought that Lu Ming would not stand a chance and would be killed by Luo Shuihan. Was Lu Ming going to die in Luo Shuihan's hands before he even started challenging the Divine Sun? Bang! Bang! Luo Shuihan stepped forward, and the holy light became more and more intense. Luo Shuihan, I'll fight with you. At this moment, a voice was heard. Then a dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens. With a flash of purple light, a purple figure appeared in front of Luo Shuihan. Boom! Luo Shuihan smacked out a palm. Holy light burst out, law circulated, and the palm power was monstrous. A dragon's roar came from the purple figure. A purple dragon claw struck out and collided with Luo Shuihan. With a shocking boom, the purple figure and Luo Shuihan were both forced back. However, Luo Shuihan only retreated 3 steps, while the purple figure retreated 4 or 5 steps. Senior brother Zifeng. Lu Ming muttered. This figure that suddenly appeared was precisely Zifeng, one of the Azure State's 10 great demon-level talents. Zifeng, you're overestimating yourself if you want to stop me. I'll kill you first, then Lu Ming. Luo Shuihan let out a long cry and charged towards Zifeng. I'm not afraid of you, kill. Zifeng shouted and also charged towards Luo Shuihan. The two of them were engaged in an intense battle. Lu Ming was dumbfounded and helpless. He had planned to take advantage of this opportunity to kill Luo Shuihan and weaken the strength of the deity sect. In this way, it would be more likely for Dragon God Valley to win first place in the treasure-fixing convention. In that case, the fragments of the prison-guarding steel and the other treasure would be under the control of the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming would have a chance to get the fragments of the prison-guarding steel. He was just about to make a move when Zifeng rushed over, making Lu Ming rather speechless. Zifeng and Luo Shuihan were engaged in an intense battle. Zifeng's cultivation was also at the third stage of the half-saint realm. He was in the body of the law, and his spiritual body was also a superior earth spiritual body. His combat strength was powerful. Although he was no match for Luo Shuihan, it was not so easy for Luo Shuihan to defeat Zifeng. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. You killed the people of my Tianxin sect. You must die today. At this moment an old voice came from afar. It was an old man in a white robe. He stepped on the void and flashed like a white light. He arrived at the scene in an instant. His powerful and vast aura locked onto Lu Ming in an instant. A saint's might filled the air. This was a saint. This battle had attracted the attention of the saints of the Heaven God sect. The saint of the Tianxin sect stood high in the sky and looked down. The terrifying saintly might spread out, making many people around feel a strong pressure, and they could not help but retreat. Lu Ming is finished. With the saint making a move, he's even more dead. That's right. A saint is stronger than Luo Shuihan. Many people shouted. Initial bright saint? The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a disdainful smile and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. Luo Shuihan had been blocked, so killing a saint was not bad. Old man, you're already so old. How dare you attack a junior? Do you think that Dragon God Valley has no one? A loud roar was heard. Then a tall old man rushed over and stood in front of the Tianxin sect saint. His body also exuded a vast saint might. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley had arrived. The Elder of the Dragon God Valley exuded a powerful holy aura, blocking the saints of the Tianxin sect and Lu Ming behind him. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. No way, don't do this, let me do it. Lu Ming roared in his heart. He was really speechless. Previously Luo Shuihan had been blocked by Zifeng. Now, a saint in the initial Bright Saint Realm had come and was blocked by the Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley. It had completely disrupted Lu Ming's plan. Lu Ming, step back. With me around, this old man can't do anything to you. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley said. Lu Ming sighed. The surrounding people were also discussing. Whoa, Lu Ming is so lucky. There's an expert in the vicinity of Dragon God Valley. Otherwise he would be finished. That's right. His luck is too good. However, he won't be able to go far by relying on luck. He will eventually encounter the Heaven's Pride experts of the Tianxin sect in the treasure-fixing assembly. Even if he doesn't die in the treasure-fixing assembly, he will still die in the battle with the Divine Sun later on. The Tianxin sect saint looked at the Dragon God Valley saint with cold eyes. However, he did not make a move. The saints of Dragon God Valley were no weaker than him. If they fought, both sides would probably be injured. Boom. On the other side, Zifeng and Luo Shuihan exchanged a blow, and the two retreated together. The difference was that Luo Shuihan was calm and composed, while Zifeng was also gasping for breath, his breath somewhat weak. Luo Shuihan's eyes showed a trace of unwillingness. It would be very difficult to kill Lu Ming today. Lu Ming, do you only know how to hide behind other people? You can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. You have nowhere to hide in the treasure sealing assembly. This time, I will make sure that you Dragon God Valley people can't return. Starting from the small treasure sealing assembly in 10 days, I will let you know the consequences of offending my Tianxin sect. Luo Shuihan said coldly. She glanced at Lu Ming coldly, then turned around and left. Chapter 1675. 1675 Chapter 1675 Mistaken. Let's go. The saint of the Tianxin sect snorted coldly and gave an order. He then left with the people of the Tianxin sect. As for the Yudu sect and the Tianyu demonic sect, they had also left quietly. Lu Ming, are you all right? The elder of the Dragon God Valley asked Lu Ming. Elder, I'm fine. Lu Ming answered helplessly. Yes, let's go back first. In this time's treasure sealing assembly, I'm afraid that we will still encounter the joint forces of the deity sect, the Yudu sect, and a few other sections. You must be prepared. The elder of Dragon God Valley said and then flew to the Dragon God Valley's encampment. Lu Ming, Tianchue, Xuanixin and Zifeng followed. I'm afraid that Dragon God Valley will be in danger during the treasure auction in 10 days. Zifeng sighed. How many top-notch heaven's favorites from Dragon God Valley are there in this treasure auction? Lu Ming asked. The top Heaven's Pride level he was talking about was those at the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm with superior earth spiritual bodies. Only such Heaven's Pride level experts could influence the outcome of the battle in the treasure-determining party. There's only one person. He's much worse than he was 3 years ago. Zifeng sighed. Lu Ming frowned. In this case, Dragon God Valley was in danger. The Tianxin sect, the Yudu sect, and the other sects would definitely target him during the treasure settlement ceremony. By then, Dragon God Valley would not have the power to resist him. It was very likely that they would not even be able to enter the top 10 and would lose the qualification to participate in the treasure settlement ceremony. Senior Brother Zifeng, I recommend a person who is enough to suppress all the other top heavens favorites in the treasure auction. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he thought of Su Lei. Su Lei had obtained the inheritance from the ancestral land of Gusu City. Her mysterious Yin dragon body was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming estimated that in a battle of the same level, unless one had a heavenly spirit body, they would definitely not be Su Lei's match. Su Lei's participation was enough to suppress all the heroes. He can suppress the other top-tier heavens favorites? Zifeng's eyes brightened. There was actually such a heavens favorite in Dragon God Valley. How did he not know? However, since Lu Ming said so, he must be confident. Alright, let's change to another person. Zifeng said. The few of them chatted and soon returned to the Dragon God Valley base. As soon as he returned to the Dragon God Valley base, Lu Ming ran into two familiar faces, the siblings Qiu Yingying and Qiu Hao. Qiu Yingying was very happy to see Lu Ming. Yingying, congratulations. Your cultivation has reached the 6th level of the Martial Emperor realm. Lu Ming smiled. Qiu Yingying's breakthrough speed was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. She had already reached the 6th level Martial Emperor realm. One should know that Qiu Yingying was only an ordinary spirit body. It was shocking that she could achieve such a speed. Qiu Yingying had once obtained an inheritance in the Emperor Tsang's secret realm. Perhaps it was related to this, Lu Ming thought. All of a sudden, Lu Ming gasped and stared at Qiu Yingying carefully. Lu Ming, what are you looking at? Being stared at by Lu Ming, Qiu Yingying blushed and said unnaturally. Senior Brother Zifeng, 7 Senior Brother, 8 Senior Sister, you can go back first. I have something to say to Yingying. Lu Ming said to Zifeng, Tianxue and the rest. Haha, Junior Brother, I understand. Believe now. Tianxue laughed out loud, revealing an I understand expression as he pulled Xuaningxin along and left. Zifeng smiled and left as well. I forgot I have something important to do. You guys chat first, they'll be leaving too. Qiu Hao smacked his head and winked at Qiu Yingying before flying up into the air and leaving the place. Only Lu Ming and Qiu Yingying were left. Qiu Yingying's heart started to beat wildly. She did not dare to look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched his nose and was rather speechless. It seemed that he had been misunderstood. Yingying, let's go to the side and talk. Lu Ming said and walked to an empty space at the side. Qiu Yingying's heart was beating even faster, like a little deer. What did Lu Ming want to say to me? Does he like me? At this moment, Qiu Yingying's mind was filled with all sorts of thoughts. Yingying, the inheritance you received back then, did it include a method to cultivate the soul? Lu Ming asked when they reached the empty space. Yes, that's right. Qiu Yingying was taken aback at first, but then she nodded. It turned out that Lu Ming wanted to talk about this. It seemed that she was wrong. She did not know why, but she felt a sense of loss. As expected. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's soul force was very strong. He had also cultivated the soul cultivation technique. When he sized up Qiu Yingying just now, he realized that Qiu Yingying's soul force was exceptionally strong. Qiu Yingying's cultivation was at the 6th level Martial Emperor realm, but her soul power was far beyond that. It was even approaching the 8th level. Such soul power was not something that an ordinary person could possess. Hence, Lu Ming immediately thought of the legacy that Qiu Yingying had obtained in the Emperor Tsang's secret realm. Yingying, the soul cultivation technique that you obtained, does it have any offensive techniques? Lu Ming asked. Yes, there is. Qiu Yingying collected her thoughts and nodded. Use it on me. You'll feel it, use it with all your might. Lu Ming said. I'm okay. Qiu Yingying nodded. She knew that Lu Ming was much stronger than her. Hence she did not hold back. Qiu Yingying's eyes started to change. They turned pitch black. At this moment, Lu Ming realized that his surroundings had changed. It had become a purgatory. One by one, the purgatory demons charged out with furious roars and pounced on Lu Ming. It's an illusion. Lu Ming muttered. Qiu Yingying's soul attack was actually an illusion. Using one's own powerful soul power to influence the other party's soul, causing the other party to hallucinate. This kind of attack was mysterious and unpredictable and extremely dangerous. Once a person fell into an illusion, they would be at the mercy of others. Break. Lu Ming muttered softly. His soul force trembled slightly. The surrounding scene shattered like glass and returned to its original state. Then he saw Qiao Ying's body tremble as she retreated. Her eyes returned to normal, but her face was a little pale. Ying, are you all right? Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Qiao Ying. He asked with concern. Lu Ming's soul power was so powerful that with a slight vibration of his soul power, he had broken Qiao Ying's illusion. Even Qiao Ying herself had suffered a backlash. I'm fine. It's just that my soul force is a little shaken. Lu Ming, your soul force is so powerful. Qiao Ying said, her eyes filled with amazement. Just now, when her soul force came into contact with Lu Ming's soul force, she felt that Lu Ming's soul force was like an endless ocean. Ying, your soul attack technique is very mysterious. I have another soul attack technique here that I can teach you. It will help your soul to advance to the 8th level of the Martial Emperor realm or even higher. That way, no one below the high-level Martial Emperor realm in the Azure continent will be your opponent. Lu Ming said. Really? Really? Qiao Ying said. Of course it's real. Look at what this is. A demonic evil crystal appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This is demonic evil crystal? Qiao Ying's eyes lit up. Chapter 1676. 1676 Lu Ming's arrangement. When he saw Qiao Ying, Lu Ming had an idea. He would increase Qiao Ying's soul force and teach her the divine sword technique. This way, Qiao Ying would be able to crush other 6th-level martial royal realm geniuses with her soul force alone. This way, if Qiao Ying were to participate in the treasure auction, she would definitely give everyone a big surprise. Ying, let's go to your room. It'll help you increase your soul power. Lu Ming said. And? Qiao Ying nodded. Lu Ming and Qiao Ying went to her room. Lu Ming took out a demonic fiend crystal and helped Qiao Ying refine it. With Lu Ming's help and Qiao Ying's own help, the speed of refining the demonic fiend crystals was greatly accelerated. After refining one, she took out another. Qiao Ying's soul power increased explosively. After a few hours, Qiao Ying's soul power had a breakthrough. It was now equivalent to the soul power of an 8th-level martial emperor, and it was still increasing. 3 days later, her soul force made another breakthrough and reached the 9th level of the martial royal realm. At this moment, Lu Ming finally stopped helping Qiao Ying refine the demonic fiend crystal. Qiao Ying needed some time to get used to the sudden increase in strength. Ying, how about you participate in the treasure auction 7 days from now? Lu Ming said. Me? I've wanted to participate for a long time, but I wasn't selected. Qiao Ying immediately revealed a look of anticipation. Her cultivation level was not bad, but her physique was too poor. She was only an ordinary spirit body. Even if she wanted to participate in the small treasure auction, she was already prepared to be selected. And it'll let senior apprentice brother Zifeng know. Also, here is the divine sword art, a spirit cultivation and attack method. You take it to cultivate. Lu Ming took out a jade talisman and passed it to Qiao Ying. It was the attack method of the divine sword technique. Qiao Ying took it and scanned it with her spiritual sense, and her face revealed a happy expression. Although her illusionary attacks were profound, they didn't have strong offensive power. If she used the godly sword technique, she would be like a tiger with wings. Lu Ming, thank you. Qiao Ying smiled. Then she seemed to have thought of something. A jade talisman appeared in her palm and she handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, this is the soul technique that I'm cultivating. It might be useful to you. All right, then I won't stand on ceremony. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept it immediately. Qiao Ying's illusion technique was indeed very useful to Lu Ming. Ying, during this period of time, you should familiarize yourself with your cultivation. 7 days later, participate in the treasure auction. Lu Ming said his goodbyes and left. Then Lu Ming looked for Su Lei and told her that he had the intention to let her participate in the treasure settlement party. Su Lei naturally agreed. With Su Lei's combat strength, she also wanted to participate in the treasure auction. Lu Ming then returned to his room and entered the mountain and river diagram. On a mountain peak, Ming Lian's body was flowing with the power of runes. He had a jade talisman in his hand, and runes were entering the jade talisman. Meanwhile, Bubbles stood on her clone's shoulder and used the space-time laws to help her clone refine jade talismans. Lu Ming was refining a space-time instant teleportation talisman. There was a trace of space-time law power sealed in it. If he crushed it, he could teleport 300 meters away in an instant. Lu Ming refined these jade talismans with the purpose of giving them to the disciples of the Dragon God Valley who were participating in the treasure-settling small meeting. He did not want to be like 3 years ago, where the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were passive and killed. Then Lu Ming appeared on another mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, a dragon bone appeared before his eyes. He had obtained this dragon bone in the ancestral land of Gusu City. Lu Ming released his devouring power and began to refine the essence of the dragon bone. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the treasure auction. At this time, one of the dragon bones had almost been refined by Lu Ming. However, his spirit body did not improve. It was still a low-grade celestial spirit body. As expected, it's too difficult for a spirit body to evolve after attaining the heaven spiritual body. I wonder if the 1500 kilograms of Supreme Saint Dragon Bone can help my spirit body evolve? Lu Ming pondered. Then he exited the mountain and river diagram. Lu. Senior brother Lu Ming. Lu Ming. When Lu Ming appeared in the courtyard, he realized that Su Lei and Qiu Yingying had already arrived. Su Lei, Yingying, come with me, he said. Lu Ming smiled. He brought Su Lei and Qiu Yingying and flew toward an open space in the Dragon God Valley. There were dozens of people gathered here. These people were the disciples of Dragon God Valley who had participated in the treasure hunt. In front of everyone there were still 2 people. One was a tall and sturdy old man, precisely a Saint Realm Elder, and the other was Zifeng. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, everyone's eyes turned to him. In particular, the disciples who were going to participate in the treasure auction looked at Lu Ming with admiration. 3 years ago, Lu Ming had single-handedly helped Dragon God Valley win the first place in the party. Junior brother Lu, you're finally here. Zifeng's eyes lit up when he saw Lu Ming and he smiled. Senior brother Zifeng, Elder. Lu Ming cupped his fists at Zifeng and the Sage Realm Elder. Lu Ming, I heard from Zifeng that someone recommended you to participate in the small treasure auction? The Saint Realm Elder asked as he looked at Su Lei and Qiu Yingying. That's right, it's the 2 of them. Lu Ming pointed at Qiu Yingying and Su Lei. The Saint Realm Elder's eyes flashed with a strange light as he sized up Su Lei and Qiu Yingying. His eyes fell on Su Lei and his eyes flashed. His body is full of qi and blood, and his vitality is as vigorous as fire. This is a superior earthly spiritual body, and his cultivation has reached the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm. I didn't know there was such a genius in Dragon God Valley. But this girl seems to be an ordinary spirit body. Lu Ming, are you really going to let her participate? When the Sage Realm Elder looked at Qiu Yingying, he was a little confused. Elder, don't worry. She will surprise you. Lu Ming smiled. Alright then, we'll switch to 2. The Sage Realm Elder said. Then he replaced the 2 people with the weakest cultivation with Qiu Yingying and Su Lei. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and 36 jade talismans appeared in the air. My fellow junior brothers and sisters, the deity sect, Yudu sect, and the other sects will definitely target us in this treasure determination party. It will be as dangerous as 3 years ago. Lu Ming's words caused many people's expressions to change and fear flashed across their faces. Indeed, if they were targeted by the other sects like 3 years ago, some of the weaker ones among them would be in danger. However, the Dragon God Valley had ordered them to participate, so they had no choice but to participate. When the time came, they could only try their best to stay alive. However, this time, I won't let you repeat the mistake of the 3-year period. Each of you will have one of these jade talismans. If you encounter any danger, just crush the jade talisman and your body will be transported 300 meters away. Lu Ming said. These words made all the disciples present, including the Saint Stage Elder and Zifeng, reveal a burning desire in their eyes. There was actually such a treasure. It could save his life at a critical moment. Lu Ming waved his hand and 36 jade talismans flew into the hands of the 36 participating disciples, 1 for each of them. Chapter 1677, 1677 Chapter 1677 Another small party? Thank you, Senior Brother Lu Ming. All 36 disciples bowed to Lu Ming in thanks. Among these disciples, most of them might have entered the sect longer than Lu Ming. However, in the path of martial arts, the one with the best skills came first. In the Dragon God Valley, Lu Ming had made Yin Zisong kneel down with 2 shouts. Such a cultivation was simply unfathomable. These people naturally addressed Lu Ming as senior brother. Good, haha, then let's go. The Sage Realm Elder was overjoyed. After he shouted, he led everyone and flew towards the location of the treasure auction. Lu Ming and Zifeng also went together. It was the same venue from 3 years ago. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they realized that the place was already full of people. The other 12 sects had already arrived on the 13 circular platforms surrounding the fighting ring. There was only one platform that was still empty. It was platform number 10. 3 years ago, Lu Ming and the rest were on that platform. The Dragon God Valley disciples landed on the 10th platform, while the Saint Elders flew into the pavilion behind. Lu Ming and Zifeng landed on the stands behind the 10th platform. Many Dragon God Valley disciples were already seated there. Ninth junior brother, come and sit here. Tian Shui and Xuanixin had arrived as well. Tian Shui greeted Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Zifeng were sitting beside Tian Shui and Xuanixin. Ihi, your Dragon God Valley is finally here. I thought you were afraid and were cowards. From the stands of the Heavenly God sect, a cold gaze swept toward Lu Ming. Luo Shuihan had also arrived. Wait a minute. My Dragon God Valley will let the Tianxin sect understand how to spell the word, cowardly turtle. Lu Ming said calmly. Is that so? Luo Shuihan's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, you're still as arrogant as ever. Wait a minute, don't kill the disciples of Dragon God Valley because of you. There are a few beautiful women in there. It'll be a pity if you kill them. A cold voice was heard. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Mo Yang. The genius of the Tianyu demonic sect had also come. Mo Yang, who ran faster than a dog in the heavenly wind plains. You've forgotten so quickly. Lu Ming sneered. Mo Yang's face stiffened. Back then, in the windy plains, Lu Ming controlled the hurricane and chased him all over the place. He had been brooding over this matter. Now that Lu Ming mentioned it, his face turned even gloomier. Lu Ming, you'd better pray that you don't meet me in this time's treasure sealing assembly. Oh, I almost forgot that you still have to fight the Divine Sun later on. You're dead anyway and I can't be bothered to argue with a dead person. Mo Yang said coldly. Many people's hearts beat faster. This time's treasure auction had actually attracted so many powerhouses. A few of the 10 great demon-level geniuses had come. The treasure settlement party had yet to start, but the few evildoers and Lu Ming were already at daggers drawn. Little Qing, you didn't come? Lu Ming's gaze swept across the grandstand of the Tianyu demonic sect and he was a little disappointed. It seemed that Xian Yinqing had not come to the Tsang Mountains yet. Otherwise, she should have guessed that Lu Ming would appear at the treasure auction. If Xian Yinqing was here, he would definitely appear and look for him. Now that he didn't appear, he probably didn't come. Junior brothers and sisters of the Tianxin sect, today, please entertain the people of Dragon God Valley. Luo Shuihan's voice was heard. Junior brothers and sisters of the Tianyu demonic sect, you must also entertain the people of Dragon God Valley later. Mo Yang also spoke coldly. On the other side, the Yu Du sect's people were also looking coldly at the Dragon God Valley's people. Many people were shocked. Could it be that Dragon God Valley was going to be targeted like 3 years ago? 3 years ago, Dragon God Valley produced Lu Ming. This time, who would the Dragon God Valley rely on? Moreover, it was said that there was only one top-notch heaven's favorite in Dragon God Valley. This time, Dragon God Valley would not be directly swept out of the competition and would not even be able to participate in the treasure auction, right? In the stands, many disciples of Dragon God Valley who were at the 7th level Martial Emperor realm and above looked very upset. Detestable. Tian Shui gritted his teeth. Lu Ming was the only one who looked calm. Zifeng's expression did not look too good either. Not long after, a Sage Realm Elder of the Heaven God sect appeared and announced the rules of the competition and the rewards. The reward this time was exactly the same as 3 years ago. It was still 7 Royal Domain pills, which made many people's eyes burn with desire. Then he announced the start of the competition. The Heavenly God sect still occupied the first platform and was the first to send a challenger. But a youth from the Heavenly God sect leaped onto the fighting ring. A powerful aura emanated from his body. He was an expert at the LV6 Martial Royal Realm. He looked directly at the Dragon God Valley and pointed at a youth in the 4th level of the Martial Emperor realm. He said coldly, "You come down and accept your death." Many people were shocked. It was exactly the same as 3 years ago. The Tianxin sect sent their masters to kill the disciples of the Dragon God Valley with low cultivation. Junior brother, your life is more important. The leader of the Dragon God Valley team was a purple-robed young man from the Purple Dragon Valley. Yes. The young man from Dragon God Valley nodded and jumped into the fighting ring. Die. The young man from the Tianxin sect charged at the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. The disciples of Dragon God Valley did not linger in the battle and rushed to the edge of the fighting ring. You won't be able to escape, you'll die. The young man from the Tianxin sect attacked coldly. His speed exploded and he caught up with the disciples of the Dragon God Valley in an instant. The difference in cultivation was too great. The disciples of Dragon God Valley could not even escape. Whoosh. The young man from the Tianxin sect condensed a spear of divine punishment in his hand and stabbed it toward the disciple of the Dragon God Valley. The disciples of Dragon God Valley were dead. Such a thought appeared in the minds of many people. At this moment, a ray of light emanated from the body of the Dragon God Valley disciple and enveloped him. The next moment, his body trembled and disappeared. The next moment, he reappeared 300 meters away. He was not far from the edge of the fighting ring. The Dragon God Valley disciples rushed down the fighting ring like lightning. What a powerful life-saving spiritual talisman. Many people in the surroundings could see what was going on. On the fighting ring, the disciple of the Heavenly God sect snorted unhappily and returned to the first platform. I can't believe there's a life-saving spiritual talisman. I'm quite lucky, but there are still 35 people. Only one more person can live. Luo Shuihan said coldly. He didn't notice the surprise in the eyes of the Dragon God Valley disciples. The jade talismans that Lu Ming gave them were really useful. They immediately felt more confident and confident. Next, it was the second platform sect challenge. The second platform was still the Sky Demon sect. In fact, the landing platforms of the sects were almost the same as 3 years ago. A young man from the Jianghu demonic sect stepped into the fighting ring and looked at Dragon God Valley. You come down and accept your death. The youth from the Tianyu demon sect, like the youth from the Tianxin sect, challenged a disciple from the Dragon God Valley who was at the LV4 martial royal realm. Chapter 1678. 1678. Doesn't it hurt to slap your own face? Everyone understood that the people of the Tianxin sect and the Tianyu demon sect had joined forces to target Dragon God Valley. It was the same as 3 years ago. Ill come. The Dragon God Valley disciple who had been challenged leaped onto the fighting ring and looked at the disciples of the Sky Demon sect with a provocative look. Brat, you're very arrogant. It'll make you wish you were dead. The young man from the Tianyu demon sect said coldly. You want to kill me? Let's make a bet. If you can't kill me, you'll have to kneel down and kowtow to me. The Dragon God Valley disciple sneered. With the jade talisman, he had the confidence to save his life and his courage grew. Brat, you're looking for death. The disciples of the Tianyu demonic sect charged at the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. The Dragon God Valley disciple took a step forward and rushed to the edge of the fighting ring. However, the disciple of the Tianyu demonic sect caught up with him very quickly. A demonic blade slashed at the disciple of the Dragon God Valley. However, just like the previous battle, the disciple of the Dragon God Valley emitted a ray of light. The next moment he had already appeared 300 meters away. He took a few steps and rushed out of the fighting ring. I've told you that you can't kill me. So what if you're at the 6th level of the martial royal realm? The disciple of the Dragon God Valley said arrogantly. Damn it. The Tianyu demonic sect disciple's face was extremely cold as he returned to the platform with hatred. Another life-saving spiritual talisman. Don't tell me everyone has one. That's impossible. This kind of life-saving spiritual talisman is very precious. There are definitely not many of them in Dragon God Valley. There was a commotion all around. You people of Dragon God Valley are really willing to give up such a precious treasure to save your lives. But even if each of you has one, what's the use? You can only save your life but you can't win. Then let's eliminate Dragon God Valley first. Luo Shuihan said coldly. He was in a bad mood. He had said that he would kill the disciples of the Dragon God Valley, but now he was saved by them one after another, which made him feel very embarrassed. Is that so? Lu Ming smiled faintly, his expression calm. The challenges continued, and soon it was the Yu-Du sect's turn. Sure enough, the Yu-Du sect also sent out an expert to challenge the Dragon God Valley disciple. However, the Dragon God Valley disciple still used the jade talisman to save his life and rushed down the fighting ring. This made everyone in the area a little dumbfounded. Could it be that everyone in Dragon God Valley would really get a life-saving spiritual talisman? However, it was useless. Even if he could survive, he would be the first to be defeated and eliminated by the three great sections. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to participate in the treasure-fixing assembly. 3 years ago there was Lu Ming, and in the end the Herculean King dominated the crowd. Who was in Dragon God Valley this time? It was said that the quality of Dragon God Valley's paragons this time was far inferior to 3 years ago. It was said that the Heaven's Pride experts in the Tianxin sect were stronger than 3 years ago. They had 4 Heaven's Pride experts who had reached the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm and possessed superior earth spiritual bodies. This was one more than 3 years ago. The Tianyu demonic sect and the Yudu sect were not any worse than they were 3 years ago. In this way Dragon God Valley had no chance at all. The competition continued, and soon it was Dragon God Valley's turn to challenge. The difference from 3 years ago was that this time, the disciples of Dragon God Valley had life-saving spiritual talismans and could counterattack in advance. The leader of the Dragon God Valley team had sent a LV6 Martial Royal Realm expert to challenge a LV4 Martial Royal Realm expert of the Deity sect and killed him. This made the disciples of the Divine Realm sect and Luo Shuihan's faces turn ugly. They didn't manage to kill the disciples of Dragon God Valley. Instead, one of them was killed by the disciples of Dragon God Valley. Today Dragon God Valley will be the first to be eliminated. Luo Shuihan's cold voice was heard. Luo, can you shut up? Before it started, you were already shouting that you wanted to entertain the disciples of Dragon God Valley and wanted to kill them. Now that you can't kill them, you want to be the first one to eliminate the disciples of Dragon God Valley. Don't you feel pain when you slap yourself like this? Lu Ming's disdainful voice was heard. Ha ha ha. Beside Lu Ming, Tianxue, Xuaningxin, and the others burst into laughter. Following that, the rest of the people from Dragon God Valley also laughed. Chi. Luo Shuihan clenched her fists so tightly that her veins were bulging. Soon, the first round of the competition ended, and the second round began. The second round was the same as the first round. The Tianxin sect, the Tianyu demon sect, and the Yudu sect took turns to send out their experts to challenge the Dragon God Valley. However, everyone from the Dragon God Valley was given a jade talisman. In the end, none of them were killed. All of them survived. This left the people from the other sects dumbfounded. There were so many life-saving spiritual talismans in Dragon God Valley. This kind of talisman wouldn't be very useful in other places. Could only move 300 meters. If the difference in strength was too great, the 300 meters distance could be covered in a few moves. However, it was different on the fighting ring. Moving 300 meters on the fighting ring was enough to escape the fighting ring and save his life. This made the people of the 3 major sects feel very helpless. What made the people of the Tianxin sect want to vomit blood was that when the Dragon God Valley challenge came, they would send experts to kill a weak person of the Tianxin sect. They couldn't kill the people of Dragon God Valley, but Dragon God Valley could kill them. After that, it was the same for every round. In every round, 3 people from Dragon God Valley were defeated, but one of them was able to kill one person from the Tianxin sect. Soon 8 rounds had passed. 24 people from Dragon God Valley had been defeated, leaving only 12 people. However, 8 people from the Tianxin sect had been killed by the Dragon God Valley. These were all Heaven's Pride figures, which made the people of the Tianxin sect feel heartache. They finally had a taste of what it was like to be hunted down by them in Dragon God Valley 3 years ago. The Tianxin sect had no way out now. They could only eliminate Dragon God Valley as soon as possible to reduce their losses. The 9th round. Bus. A Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect leaped onto the fighting stage. His violent aura filled the entire area. The peak of the 6th level martial monarch realm. Although this person was not one of the 4 strongest people in the Tianxin sect's treasure auction, he was still one of the 4 strongest Heaven's Pride experts. He looked at Dragon God Valley. At this time, the remaining 12 people of Dragon God Valley were all at the LV6 Martial Royal Realm. Little girl, come down. The Heavens God Sect's paragon looked at Qiao Ying and said coldly, "It's finally my turn." Qiao Ying's eyes lit up as she stepped onto the fighting ring. "You also have a life-saving spirit talisman on you, right? In that case, get out of the fighting stage yourself lest I make a move." The chosen from the Heavenly God Sect spoke. Qiao Ying's cultivation was only at the early stage of the LV6 Martial Royal Realm. Moreover, her qi and blood were not strong, and her vitality was not very vigorous. She was clearly a person with an ordinary physique. The Dragon God Valley had actually sent a person with an ordinary physique to fight. There was really no one else. Zifeng, Lu Ming, you're actually letting a girl with an ordinary physique fight. Has your Dragon God Valley declined to such an extent? You can't even send out a decent person? Luo Shuihan said with a cold smile. He would not let go of the chance to mock Dragon God Valley. Wait a minute, don't slap your own face again. Lu Ming said indifferently. Chapter 1679. 1679 The Power of the Soul Illusion Technique. Oh? He's just an early LV6 martial royal realm martial artist with an ordinary physique. What else can he do other than using a life-saving spiritual talisman to escape? Luo Shuihan sneered. Lu Ming ignored Luo Shuihan and looked at the fighting ring. I don't know how to use a life-saving spirit talisman. Zhou Ying said. You're not going to use your life-saving spirit talisman? The eyes of the Heavens God Sex genius lit up. No need, because I don't need to use the life-saving spiritual talisman to deal with you, Zhou Ying said. His words made the other party burst into laughter. Not only him but many people from the Tianxin sect and the Tianyu demon sect also laughed. An ordinary 6th-level martial royal realm cultivator with an ordinary spiritual body actually said that he didn't need to use a life-saving spiritual talisman to deal with a Heaven's Pride expert who was at least at the middle-grade Earth spiritual body. So arrogant, so presumptuous. If you don't want to use the talisman, then go to hell. The Heavens God Sex Paragon said coldly. Holy light filled the air as he took a step forward. A sword of holy light appeared in his hand, and he slashed it towards Zhou Ying. But at this moment in his eyes Zhou Ying had changed. Zhou Ying seemed to have disappeared from his sight, and the surrounding scene changed. In an instant, it turned into a purgatory. Countless demons charged towards the Heaven Deity Sex Paragon. How could this be? Get lost. The Heavens God Sex Paragon roared. Sword chi swept out and slashed towards those evil demons. Those evil demons were continuously killed, but more and more evil demons pounced towards him. He and the evil demon had a fierce battle. Of course, all of this was just what he had seen. At this moment, most of the people present were dumbfounded. All they saw was the Heavens God Sex Paragon charging towards Zhou Ying. However, when he was halfway there, he suddenly stopped and let out a strange roar. Then he started to kill in the air. And Zhou Ying just stood there not moving at all. The battle between the Heavens God Sex Paragons was incomparably intense. The other people at the scene were dumbfounded. What was this old man doing? Even the disciples of Dragon God Valley were dumbfounded. At the scene, only two people had calm expressions. One of them was Lu Ming and the other was Qiu Hao. Qiu Hao naturally knew that Zhou Ying's inheritance would allow her to cast an illusion. Junior brother Lu Ming, you already knew about it. Zifeng took a deep breath and looked at Lu Ming, who had a calm expression. He finally knew why Lu Ming wanted Zhou Ying to participate in the competition. Yes, senior brother looked down. Lu Ming nodded slightly and smiled. Zhao Qi, what are you doing? Luo Shuihan shouted from the stands of the Divine Sky sect. Her face was a little hot. What was this Zhao Qi doing? However, his shout was completely useless. The Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect was still madly slashing at the air, his mouth constantly shouting things like, kill and get lost. At this moment, Zhou Ying took a light step forward, and a limpid sword appeared in her hand as she walked towards the other party. It was as if the other party could not see Zhou Ying at all as he randomly slashed out. However, each sword strike was unable to land on Zhou Ying, and only landed beside her. Zhao Qi, what are you doing? Quickly retreat. Quickly retreat. The people of the Heavenly God sect shouted. But it was useless. Zhao Seventh didn't seem to hear him. Zhou Ying came in front of Zhao Qi and stabbed him with her sword. Zhao Qi had no reaction, and his dantian was pierced by Zhou Ying's sword. At this time, Zhao Qi's random attacks finally stopped. He stared at Zhou Ying with his eyes wide open. He looked at the long sword that had pierced through his dantian and destroyed his spiritual soul. Blood kept spurting out of his mouth, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Bus. Zhou Ying's long sword shook, and Zhao Seventh was sent flying far away. He was no longer breathing. The entire place was silent. Zhou Ying's attack was too strange, and Zhao Seventh's death was inexplicable. All right. After a long while, the disciples of Dragon God Valley burst into cheers. The people of the Heavenly God sect, on the other hand, had gloomy expressions. A person with an ordinary spiritual body at the early stage of the 6th level martial royal realm can do this. He can easily kill the Heaven's Pride expert of your Tianxin sect. Did you see that? Lu Ming looked at Luo Shuihan and said indifferently, his voice full of ridicule. Luo Shuihan gritted her teeth and her eyes were full of killing intent. Just now he was still saying that a person with an ordinary spiritual body at the early stage of the 6th level martial royal realm could do nothing but use a spiritual talisman to save his life. Now the facts had proven that he was the one who could kill the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect. At this moment, it was a slap to his face. I told you to cut the crap. Otherwise you'll only be slapping yourself in the face. Are you happy now? Lu Ming continued. Lu Ming, don't be happy too early. The treasure locking party has not ended. Luo Shuihan said through gritted teeth. Then let's continue watching. Lu Ming smiled faintly. After Qiao Yingying killed her opponent, she returned to the platform. After that, the Tianyu demonic sect and the Yudu sect challenged each other. They were more cautious and eliminated 2 more people from Dragon God Valley. In this way there were only 10 people left from Dragon God Valley. When it was Dragon God Valley's turn, they did not continue to challenge the deity sect. Instead, they turned their attention to the Tianyu demon sect and killed one of their disciples. Soon the 9th round ended and the 10th round began. From the 10th round onwards, no one challenged Qiao Yingying anymore, so she was left aside for now. Another 2 rounds passed, and another 6 people were eliminated, leaving only 4 people. They were the team leader Qiao Yingying, Su Lei, and a heaven's favorite of Ice Dragon Valley. Dragon God Valley had the least number of people. Why is this situation so similar to 3 years ago? Dragon God Valley had the least number of people in the beginning, but in the end they reversed the situation and made a comeback. This time will Dragon God Valley turn the tables? Many people were discussing. That's impossible. 3 years ago there was Lu Ming in Dragon God Valley. But this time, it's impossible for another Lu Ming to appear. Although Qiao Yingying's methods are mysterious, she might be able to fight against the top heaven's favorite. That's right. If we want to turn the tables like we did 3 years ago, we'll have to be like Lu Ming. We'll have to take turns to defeat everyone. Otherwise there's no hope. While everyone was discussing, a new round began. This time, the Tianxin sect had sent a top expert to challenge them. He was one of the 4 strongest people from the Tianxin sect who had participated in the treasure auction. His name was Kai Ying. He was at the peak of the LV6 martial royal realm and had an upper-class earth spiritual body. Kai Ying's eyes swept across the 4 people of Dragon God Valley and finally fell on Su Lei. She said, "Come down and fight." This time the Tianxin sect was very unyielding. They wanted to eliminate Dragon God Valley by taking turns to fight. Su Lei's cultivation was very strong, and her qi and blood were exuberant. She gave off a strong pressure. Before this no one had challenged her. Su Lei's eyes lit up and she flew up to the fighting ring. "Hello, why don't we stop here?" Su Lei said timidly. These words made everyone else present look at each other. Su Lei looked very strong, but why did she look like a timid mouse? Kai Ying also smiled. In this state, no matter how strong his cultivation was, what combat power could he have? Chapter 1680, 1680 Chapter 1680 Stop at the right point, little girl, they'll give you a chance. Surrender and join my Tianxin sect in the future. Then I'll let you go. Kai Ying said lightly. He was too embarrassed to be cruel to such a young lady. No. Su Lei's little head immediately shook like a rattle and said, "I want surrender. I'm a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. I said we should stop here because I didn't want to kill you." What? Many people were dumbfounded. Su Lei had said, stop because she was afraid that she would hurt Kai Ying's life. Many people shook their heads and laughed. Kai Ying was the top genius in this treasure auction. Unless it was the monstrous Lu Ming from 3 years ago, no one would be able to kill Kai Ying. At most, they would be able to defeat him. Little girl, so you're pretending to be innocent to play with me. You're looking for death. Kai Ying was furious and her eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He thought that Su Lei was completely toying with him. Bus. Kai Ying's figure flashed and she slapped towards Su Lei. A huge khaki-colored hand pressed down on Su Lei. What Kai Ying cultivated was not the divine cultivation technique of the Tianxin sect, but another one. A dragon's roar came from Su Lei's body. Then Su Lei followed up with a palm. Boom. Su Lei's small hand hit the big yellow hand. The big yellow hand seemed to be frozen by a cold air and shattered with a bang. Mountain-crushing fist. Kai Ying's first attack had failed, so she kept punching out with her fists. Rays of khaki-colored fist radiance, which were like mountains, pressed down on Su Lei. Su Lei's petite body seemed as if it would be drowned at any moment. Some people in the Dragon God Valley couldn't help but feel nervous. But at this moment, a river of profound yin appeared on Su Lei's body, exuding a terrifying chill. The Xianyin River surrounded Su Lei's body. Her palms rotated in the air, and a terrifying cold current burst out, shattering the mountain-like fist radiance. Then Su Lei took a step forward and rushed towards Kai Ying. She struck out with her palm and the mysterious Yin River turned into a mysterious Yin dragon. It flew out and destroyed everything. Kai Ying's pupils contracted rapidly as she punched out with both her fists. However, wherever the mysterious Yin dragon passed by, all her attacks were destroyed. Kai Ying was shocked. He took a step forward and instantly set up 18 yellow walls in front of him, trying to block the attack of the mysterious Yin dragon. The mysterious Yin dragon let out a long roar and turned back into a mysterious Yin river. The river became bigger rapidly and the water was overflowing. It flooded down and drowned Kai Ying in the river. Collect. The next moment, Su Lei spoke softly and kept the mysterious Yin river. She then saw Kai Ying standing stiffly on the fighting ring. There was no breath on his body. He was dead. Kai Ying was dead. She was killed by Su Lei. Bang. At this moment, Kai Ying's body shattered like ice. Hiss. Everyone in the audience gasped and looked at Su Lei with shock. Su Lei, who looked timid and harmless, had actually killed Kai Ying. Kai Ying was a top-notch expert with a superior earth spiritual body. Su Lei had actually killed him. All right. The Dragon God Valley burst into cheers, while the Tianxin sect was dead silent. Luo Shuihan's face was so dark that it was about to drip water. A heaven's favorite with a superior grade earth spiritual body had died just like that. It was a heavy loss. A heaven's favorite with a superior grade earth spiritual body had the potential to become one of the top 10 geniuses in the Azure region. It was extremely rare. It was also because the Tianxin sect had become stronger and stronger in the past few decades. It had the aura of the top sect in Sangzhou. Therefore it had received many heaven's favorites. For other sects it was already very good to have one or two. Could it be that Dragon God Valley is going to make a comeback like 3 years ago? Many people had this thought. Su Lei could even kill the most powerful Heaven's Pride expert. She really had the power to turn the tide. The Heaven's favorites from the other sects looked at Su Lei with fear and seriousness. In the Dragon God Valley, many people looked at Lu Ming with admiration. They knew that Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were recommended by Lu Ming. However, they did not expect that they were so talented. There was a smile on Lu Ming's face. Even spirit bodies of the same level had differences in strength. Su Lei's mysterious Yin dragon body was undoubtedly an extremely terrifying physique. I told you to stop there, you just don't listen. Su Lei muttered softly. Although her voice was soft, it still spread to the entire scene. Many people were speechless when they heard it, but the people of the Tianxin sect wanted to vomit blood. In the beginning, who knew that Su Lei was so strong? Su Lei muttered a few words and returned to the platform. Senior brother Lu Ming, it's all right, right? Su Lei looked at Lu Ming and asked timidly. Yes, that's right. But Su Lei, you can't be soft-hearted when dealing with your enemies. If you don't kill them, they will kill you and even your family. Do you understand? Lu Ming said. Yes, Su Lei understands. Su Lei nodded. This made the hearts of the disciples of the Tianxin sect, the Tianyu demonic sect, and the Yudu sect sink. We're going to change our tactics. The leader of the Tianyu demon sect said. The leaders of the Heaven God sect and the Desire Poison sect had ugly expressions. They muttered to themselves for a moment before helplessly nodding their heads. In the beginning, they had wanted to use a tag team battle to eliminate Dragon God Valley in advance. But now Dragon God Valley had Su Lei who could kill a top Heaven's Pride expert. This was troublesome. If they fought them one after another, they would probably lose their lives. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to participate in the treasure trade fair. They could only walk the same path as 3 years ago and eliminate a few weak sects to maintain their position in the top 10. This really made them vomit blood. In the beginning, they had come in a menacing manner and wanted to destroy Dragon God Valley first. But now they had no choice but to follow the same path as 3 years ago. There was nothing more ironic than this. The disciples of the three sects, especially Luo Shuihan and Mo Yang, looked even gloomier. Could it be that things would really develop like they did 3 years ago? Many people thought so. If that was the case, the three major sects, including the Heavenly God sect, would lose a lot of face. After that, the Tianyu demonic sect began to send people to challenge the weaker sects, and it was Dragon God Valley's turn to continue hunting the paragons of the three major sections. But the three sects had no choice but to accept it. Round after round. After many rounds, the three weakest forces were finally eliminated by the combined efforts of the Deity sect, the Sky Demon sect, and the Yudu sect. The top 10 had been born. After the top 10 were born, the Tianshan sect, the Tianyu demon sect, and the Yudu sect were finally going to take action against Dragon God Valley. Let's take turns to defeat Dragon God Valley. The eyes of the paragons of the three sects burned with fire. The Tianshan sect first sent a top sovereign to challenge the sovereign of the Ice Dragon Valley and defeat him. Then the Tianyu demonic sect sent a top sovereign to fight with the leader of the Dragon God Valley team. The battle was extremely intense, but in the end, the man from the Tianyu demonic sect was stronger. He came prepared and knocked the leader of the Dragon God Valley team out of the fighting ring. In this way, only Qiao Ying and Su Lei were left in Dragon God Valley. Chapter 1681. 1681. One shout to kill one person. It was becoming more and more similar to the situation 3 years ago. However, this time, could Qiao Ying and Su Lei, two girls, withstand the wheel battle from all sides? Soon it was the Yudu sect's turn. That Qiao Ying should be skilled in soul spirit attacks. With a powerful soul spirit, she can create illusions. As long as you remain unmoved and attack with your poisonous insects, you should be able to deal with Qiao Ying. Luo Shuihan sent a message to a heaven's favorite of the Yudu sect. The Yudu sect's elite's eyes lit up. He cupped his fists at Luo Shuihan to express his gratitude. Humph, Lu Ming, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you found someone who's good at soul power. Watch her die this time. Luo Shuihan looked at Lu Ming with cold eyes. Sensing Luo Shuihan's gaze, Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint cold smile. Bus. The heaven's favorite from the Desire Poison sect leaped onto the fighting stage and directly challenged Qiao Ying. Qiao Ying stepped onto the fighting ring and stood at the side, not moving. The two of them stood there facing each other. The chosen from the Desire Poison sect emanated a poisonous aura, as well as countless poisonous insects that flew out and circled around him. However, the heaven's favorite of the Yudu sect did not make a move. Instead, the poisonous gas around him began to surge towards Qiao Ying. At this moment, Qiao Ying's eyes turned pitch black, like two deep wells. They were pitch black and unfathomable. At this moment, the heaven's favorite from the Desire Poison sect found that the scene around him had changed. It had become a purgatory of Azura, with countless demons brandishing their demonic weapons and charging at him. An illusion. This is all an illusion. The Desire Poison sect's heaven's favorite silently told himself that he would stand still and let those evil demons slash at him. Those demons rushed past like phantoms. Haha, it's useless. It's an illusion. The young man from the Desire Poison sect was overjoyed. He activated his Zhen Yuan and constantly released poisonous gas to the front. At this moment he was under an illusion and could not see where Qiao Ying was. However, as long as the fighting stage was filled with poisonous gas, Qiao Ying's ordinary spiritual body and early LV6 Martial Emperor realm cultivation would not be able to resist for long. At this time Qiao Ying stepped out and walked towards the Yudu sect. Many people were watching nervously. Previously, a Heaven's Pride expert of the Heavenly God sect was killed by Qiao Ying in this way. This time would it be the same as last time? Qiao Ying arrived in front of the Yudu sect's Heaven's Pride expert and thrust her sword out. However, at this moment, the poisonous insects that were flying around the Yudu sect's Heaven's favorites suddenly turned into a sword and attacked towards Qiao Ying. Qiao Ying's expression changed and she quickly blocked with her sword. Her body trembled and she was sent flying. At the same time, wisps of poisonous gas crawled up Qiao Ying's body and corroded his protective True Yuan and domain. Haha, her move is useless now. The poisonous insects of the Desire Poison sect can sense her aura and attack on their own. This woman is dead for sure. In the stands, Luo Shuihan laughed and showed a proud look. Aren't you afraid of being slapped in the face again? Lu Ming glanced at Luo Shuihan indifferently. She's skilled in soul power and can create illusions. Don't think that I can't see through it. However, illusions are useless now. With her own cultivation she's dead. Luo Shuihan sneered with a confident expression. However, at this moment the situation on the fighting ring suddenly changed. Kill, die. Qiao Ying shouted. Two pitch-black sword lights shot out from her eyes and pierced into the Yudu sect's paragon's body. The desire poison sect's chosen let out a blood-curdling screech as the poison within his body erupted. However, in the next moment he fell straight down onto the battle stage. Dead. The chosen of the desire poison sect had died just like that. How did this happen? Everyone was shocked. All they saw was Qiao Ying's cry, and the heaven's favorite of the Yudu sect was dead. This was a top-tier heaven's favorite. Bang. Luo Shuihan smacked the seat with his palm, shattering it. His face was burning. He had just said that Qiao Ying was dead, and in the next moment the Yudu sect's heaven's favorite was dead. This was like a slap on his face. Luo Shuihan, want your face swell? He asked. Lu Ming smiled contemptuously. All of this was within Lu Ming's expectations. Qiao Ying's current soul power was too strong. It was equivalent to the soul power of a 9th-level martial emperor. Before this, Qiao Ying had only used her soul force, which was equivalent to a LV7 martial emperor realm expert. Just now, Qiao Ying had directly burst out her strongest soul force and used the divine sword technique. The heaven's favorite from the Yudu sect was unable to resist it at all, and his soul was directly destroyed, dying on the spot. In this competition where the strongest was only at the 6th level of the martial royal realm, Qiao Ying was undefeatable. 3 years ago, when Lu Ming participated in the treasure sealing assembly, his soul power was far from being as strong as Qiao Ying's now. His contemptuous voice made Luo Shuihan's face turn red. As for the heaven's favorites from the deity sect, Sky Demon sect, and Yudu sect, they were all silent. She could kill a top-tier heaven's favorite with a single shout. How could they fight? Was there any use in a tag team battle? Was he going to die? With the opponent's soul power, how many times could he launch such an attack? They had no confidence at all. Qiao Ying kept the other party's storage ring and returned to the platform, and the competition continued. There were only 2 people left in the Dragon God Valley, but no one dared to challenge them. Soon it was Dragon God Valley's turn. Su Lei stepped onto the fighting ring directly. Her eyes were fixed on a top genius of the Tianxin sect. The Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect had a serious expression on his face. After stepping onto the fighting ring and exchanging 2 moves with Su Lei, he actually wanted to rush off the fighting ring and did not dare to continue fighting. The River of Mysterious Yin. Su Lei copulated, and the river of Shen Yin swept towards the other party like a huge wave. No. The other party was extremely frightened. He burst forth with holy light to resist with all his might, but the result was death. He had been frozen to death in the river of Mysterious Yin. The Tianxin sect had already lost 2 top-notch heaven's favorites. Damn it. What do we do? What should we do if this goes on? The 2 women from Dragon God Valley are perverts. We can't defeat them. The Heaven's God sect, the Sky Demon sect, and the Yudu sect's paragons were all panicking. Being targeted by Su Lei and Qiao Ying, only death awaited him. This was especially so for the remaining peak experts of the 3 sections. They were the most afraid. With their talent, they didn't want to die here. Lu Ming, I will make the Dragon God Valley pay with their blood at the treasure auction. On the stand, Luo Shuihan said coldly. Then she got up and left. He didn't want to see what would happen next. The result seemed to be already decided. The remaining people of the 3 sects had lost the courage to fight and only wanted to save their lives. Of course he could save his life, but it would be very embarrassing. Mo Yang also stood up and left after Luo Shuihan. Sure enough, when it was the Tianxin sect's turn to challenge, they sent out a top expert. However, they did not challenge Dragon God Valley, but instead challenged a top expert from the Tianyu Demon sect. Then, the 2 of them exchanged a few symbolic moves before they both left the fighting ring. This caused everyone to look down on him. Many people laughed, especially the disciples of the Dragon God Valley, who were not stingy with their ridicule. Chapter 1682. 1682 Goodbye. Xian Yinju and the Tianxin sect and the Tianyu Demon sect were obviously doing this to save their own lives. They wanted to save the lives of the most powerful heaven's favorites. Otherwise, another top heaven's favorite would die during the Dragon God Valley challenge. Then, when it was the Tianyu demonic sect's turn to challenge, they also sent out a top-notch Heaven's Pride expert to challenge another top-notch Heaven's Pride expert from the Tianxin sect. The 2 of them exchanged a few moves before falling off the battle platform. In this way, the top geniuses of the Tianxin sect and the Tianyu demon sect had all failed. Haha, what are they doing? Is this a child's game? On the grandstand, Tian Chue laughed out loud, his voice reverberating throughout the entire arena. Senior brother, you don't know this. The These people bully the weak and fear the strong. When they see someone who is easy to bully, they will bully them in all kinds of ways. They have a high and mighty appearance. When they see that they are not a match, they will be afraid to die. In order to save their lives, they will use any means possible. Xuanning Xin said. No wonder Mo Yang and Luo Shuihan ran away so quickly. They probably can't sit still anymore. Tian Shui said with a grin. As the two of them echoed each other, the people of the Tianxin sect and the Tianyu demon sect were so angry that they almost vomited blood. But he couldn't refute a single word. This was simply too embarrassing. This time, the faces of the few sects could be considered to have been completely lost. It was even more embarrassing than 3 years ago. 3 years ago they could still fight. But this time they didn't even dare to fight. I have something to do, he'll be leaving first. He'll be leaving too. At this moment, some of the disciples of the Heavenly God sect and the Tianyu demon sect who were at the LV7 martial royal realm and above could no longer sit still. They stood up and left one after another. It would be too embarrassing if he continued to stay. As for the people of Dragon God Valley, they were all very comfortable. They felt that their hearts were clear and their thoughts were clear. This time, no one from the Dragon God Valley died, but they killed so many Heaven's Pride experts of the Tianxin sect, forcing the other party to not even dare to fight. It was so satisfying. More people knew that it was Lu Ming. All of this had happened because of Lu Ming. If Lu Ming had not taken out his life-saving talisman, a group of them would have died when the three sects started to target them. Moreover, Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were also brought in by Lu Ming. He had never expected that Su Lei and Qiu Yingying would be so terrifying. This time he had ruthlessly smacked the faces of the three sects, Tianyu demon sect and Yudu sect. The competition continued. When it was the Yudu sect's turn, they no longer had any top geniuses. The only one had died at the hands of Qiu Yingying, and they had randomly sent out a genius to challenge the other sections. There was no longer any suspense in the next challenge. Every time it was Dragon God Valley's turn to challenge, one of the three sects, including the Tianxin sect, would be killed. As a result, the three great sects had no desire to continue fighting. They directly challenged each other, and every time both sides would suffer heavy losses. Their goal was to survive. In this way, the Tianxin sect, the Tianyu demonic sect, and the Yudu sect were the first to be eliminated. This process was very similar to 3 years ago. However, this time, the remaining Heaven's favorites from the other sects could not do anything to Su Lei and Qiu Yingying. 3 years ago, Lu Ming was alone and his cultivation was only at the 4th level Martial Emperor realm. They could take turns to fight him. However, this time, Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were 2 people and they could take turns to rest. The effect of taking turns to fight in a chaotic battle was not great. In the end, those Heaven's favorites were helpless and could only tell Qiu Yingying and Su Lei that they were just sparring. They were defeated by the 2 of them. The following matches seemed very boring because there was no longer any suspense. In the end, only Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were left on the fighting ring. After 3 years, Dragon God Valley had won the treasure auction again without losing a single person. This had never happened in history. The face of the Sage Realm Elder of the Heavenly God sect was as black as charcoal. After giving the 7 royal domain elixirs to Su Lei and Qiu Yingying, he left with his disciples. The Tianyu demonic sect and Yudu sect did the same, leaving with their tails between their legs. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley walked out and couldn't stop smiling. The battle ended with the Dragon God Valley's complete victory. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley returned to their encampment with joy. Junior brother Lu Ming, you must be careful in the treasure ceremony 7 days from now. Mo Yang and Luo Shuihan might target you. Zifeng said somewhat worriedly. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled. Everyone returned to their rooms to prepare for the treasure sealing assembly that would be held in 7 days. Lu Ming also walked towards his room, but before he reached his room, a disciple of the Dragon God Valley came to report to Lu Ming that someone wanted to see him. Lu Ming was a little curious. He did not know who it was. There was a quiet bamboo forest in the back mountain of Dragon God Valley. When Lu Ming stepped into the bamboo forest, his eyes flashed. In front of him was a woman in a white dress. She stood in the bamboo forest with a peerless face, like a fairy from a painting. Xian Yinjuan. Although Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yinqing looked almost the same, Lu Ming could still recognize them at a glance. Lu Ming did not expect that the person looking for him would be Xian Yinjuan. Long time no see, Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming stepped forward and said indifferently. Ever since the Tianxin sect and the other sects went to the continent of the Divine Ruins to recruit disciples, Xian Yinjuan was chosen by the Tianxin sect and came to the Yuan continent. They had not seen each other for nearly 6 years. Xian Yinjuan had arrived in the Yuan continent 2 years earlier than them. All these years, Xian Yinjuan had not appeared. Why did he appear now to look for Lu Ming? It has indeed been a long time. I already know about the divine wilderness continent, Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he stared at Xian Yinjuan. You have sent people to the divine wilderness? That's right, but don't worry, I did not interfere with the matters of the divine wilderness continent. The divine wilderness continent is too small, a small piece of land not enough to fight for. It's also good for the Xie family to end up like that, Xian Yinjuan muttered. Oh, did you come to find me just to tell me this? Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and asked. Of course not. I'm looking for you because of the godchild. I want to tell you a secret, Xian Yinjuan said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered but he did not say anything. He just stared at Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming, let me tell you. The divine sun has broken through to the mastery bright saint realm not long ago, Xian Yinjuan continued. Oh. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The divine child had indeed broken through. Furthermore, the divine child has also cultivated a secret technique that can increase one's combat power for a short period of time if it is unleashed. Xian Yinjuan continued. Why are you telling me this? Lu Ming asked. Why would Xian Yinjuan suddenly be so kind as to tell the divine child's secret? One should know that Xian Yinjuan was also a member of the Tianxin sect, and she was the Tianxin sect's saintess. When Lu Ming first came to the Yuan continent and entered the Emperor Tsang's secret realm, Xian Yinjuan even ordered people to kill him. Now he was so kind to remind him and tell him the divine sun's secret. Naturally, Lu Ming had doubts in his heart. Still the same words. The divine wilderness is too small. It's just a corner of the world. Today it can be compared to the entire Azure continent or even the entire Yuan continent. At this moment, Xian Yanjin's eyes were burning with passion. In order to do all of this, I must first control the Tianxin sect. However, with the divine child around, it will be even more difficult for me. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.